stopping, yeah, I got it, I won't slow down. Feeling mighty, got the power, I'm the king now. Never stopping, yeah, I got it, I won't slow down. Got the power, I'm the king now. I'm on a whole new level. I'm on a whole new level. I'm on a whole new level.
We are back. A very warm welcome to Vienna for the third HYROX Major of the season. By the close of play tonight, we could have had up to 6 new qualifiers for the World Championships. Greg Williams from the Rocks Life. It does not get more exciting than this, does it?
No, it doesn't. There's World Championship spots up for grabs. I think it's the strongest field we've ever seen in the elite races in the history of HYROX as well.
Now, the big story coming into the weekend is that of a hometown hero in Alexander Ronchevich. I mean, the pressure that you're under in that situation, but to do that, how special could this weekend be for him?
I think it's a very special weekend for him. I think he's been thinking about this race for a long time. You said about the pressure. He's raced here 3 times. He's won here 3 times. Not in a race of this magnitude, admittedly, but he really wants this one.
We will very much go into the men's race once we've closed out the women's. They're kicking off at 8:30 p.m, but up ahead of us. What a battle amongst the ladies. I mean, just as an overview, what are you most looking forward to?
I'm most looking forward to probably 2 elements of the race. There's the race to win it, and that's, you know, between Megan, Lauren Weeks, Linda Meyer. Like they're contending for the top spot, but then there's the race within the race for that World Championship spots, and that's like really up for grabs. You've got Lauren Griffiths, you know, the first time on the grid. You've got Vivian Tafuto, Camilla Massa. So many people could claim that space.
Yes, you kind of feel like between 4th and 8th, it could literally be anyone's. And a new name right in amongst it is the returning world champion from Las Vegas, Chris Rogloski. I mean, having her back on the field, that's got to shake things up a bit. Yeah,
it will do. Yeah, we know her potential from winning 2 years ago. She hasn't always focused purely on HYROX, but it feels like she has lately. It feels like she's ready for this race, so it'll be interesting to see what she can do.
Really interestingly, she said that the last time she raced, she was in one of the worst moments of kind of her athletic career. She had hurt her ankle, she was super nervous, but this time coming in, it's a completely different story.
Yeah, she sounds very confident, she sounds fit. She, like I said, she trained specifically for this in the weeks leading up to this. And when Chris gets specific for a race, like, she performs, and you see her like improve throughout the season with her times. So yeah, she could put a real performance in here today.
Now, let's start at the back and we'll work up to who we think is going to take top spot. We've already alluded to kind of how tight things are in the middle. Who do you think the contenders are for the up for grabs World Championship spots, knowing that the likelihood is Meg and Lauren will take 1 and 2, just based off previous evidence?
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think like the dark horse that maybe not a lot of people are necessarily expecting to grab the spot, for me, is Lauren Griffiths. Like she's really come onto the scene like this season. Her times throughout this season have drastically improved. She ran a 1:02 in LA, beating like Chris Rogloski on the day. It's her first time on the grid, like I said, but I think she's a real like dark horse for this.
Now, we've already mentioned Meg and Lauren, Meg Jacoby and Lauren Weeks. They've just been powerhouses throughout all of this. And we were lucky enough to, in fact, catch up with the current world record holder herself earlier on while she was warming up.
All right, with me, Megan Jacoby, the world record holder. Right, with me, seeing Megan you smile into the camera again, I gotta ask you, how important is fun for you in what's happening tonight?
Oh, it's all about fun. It's about having fun out there, testing myself, testing the last 8 weeks of training, running against the best of the best. And yeah, just going out there and kicking butt.
Kicking butt. I did ask you after the world record in Stockholm, is this it, or can you go even faster? You said, for sure I can go faster. Is it going to be faster today?
That's the plan. We'll see if I can execute. Traveling always makes things a little tricky, but I feel ready to roll, and I think if I execute my plan, you'll see a faster time happen.
A very smart person once told me, just ignore the jet lag, then it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So good luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
Megan is such an impressive athlete, isn't she? She went from a 58.58 to a 58.52. I know we're only talking seconds, Greg, but actually in the field that we're in, how hard is that to do in terms of a world record?
Yeah, at the level they're at, any improvement is impressive. She's looked so strong the few times we've seen her this season. Like, she's dominated the two major races, really. We talk about Megan versus Lauren, but Megan has been like substantially ahead in reality in Chicago and in Stockholm. Looking very, very strong. Now we're getting closer to the World Championship, which is ultimately probably what both they're targeting. So as we get closer to that, Lauren's really going to want to be closing that gap, and I think today's an important race for her.
And we know Lauren Weeks is under slightly different circumstances. She's now got toddler rather than a baby. I'm sure life at home's a little bit chaotic. But by the time we peak to that World Championship stage, do we think we're going to see a slightly different athlete, someone who can really challenge Meg?
Yeah, I think we will. And Lauren's like training isn't always like specific to HYROX year round. Like she does a lot of running, but it's not like that intense for a lot of it. But so I think as we get closer to the World Championships, I suspect her training will become more intense. She'll get more specific to HYROX, and we'll start to see her close that gap. So yeah, I think it's important for her today.
Now, we've kind of massively glossed over Linda Meyer and how good she's been this season. Arguably a bit of a surprise package in the women's field, but 2 back-to-back thirds, not to be overlooked.
No, I mean, a little bit of a surprise, mainly because she was injured for so long and then like didn't really perform that well last season. But at the start of the last season, she was world record holder.
Yeah.
And then we kind of forgot about her with Megan coming onto the scene and Lauren performing so well. But she's coming back, and we know she's got huge potential. She got a PB in Stockholm in a time that was like, would have been a world record not too long ago, you know. So no, she's looking very strong, and she's got that World Championship spot like wrapped up, so she can like push herself, see what she's capable of.
Now, those are the 3 already qualified and expecting to do well today. But what about those that haven't yet and could take that roll down qualification spot in 4th and 5th? Vivian Tafuto and Camila Massa must be 2 on the radar.
Yeah, 100%. 4th and 5th in Chicago when we saw them last out. Vivian narrowly lost out to Linda in Chicago on the wall balls, and then Camila had a strong race but broke her finger in that race. And so
wild, right? That she kept first lap. First lap.
Yeah. So you know, the rest of the race was a huge struggle. I think she's still recovering from that to a certain extent, so it'll be interesting to see how she does today. But those 2 are very strong on their day, and you know, certainly some of the favourites for that championship spot.
Now, I had a wonderful catch-up with Camila Massa earlier, and we took a little trip into Vienna. We walked around some beautiful locations, as you do when you come to Austria, and we got into the nitty-gritty of why she thinks she's doing so well at the moment. Take a look at this.
Finally Europe. So happy to be here.
How was your hand?
This finger was a challenge for me because I was in the best shape ever in Chicago, and you know, I finished the race and I broke the finger at the first run.
I know.
Actually, the first lap.
It was just a trip, was it?
Yes, I fell just behind Meg. You know, I just say the finger and I say, okay, I'm here in Chicago, let's do it. And I finished the race.
What is your current feeling towards tomorrow's race?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I can't wait. I never run so much because of my finger. So, and nothing happens I mean, everything happens for a reason. And if I didn't have this injury, maybe I couldn't focus on my run. So let's see. There's 2 spots, and I will try to get one of them.
So what would it mean to you to be able to secure it now, knowing you've got 1 major and not have to go to the last chance qualifiers?
It's peace of mind. We're going to have also DC to do that. I'll be there for sure. But when you have that spot, I mean, you can enjoy the rest of the season without any pressure.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Lauren.
That was such a nice afternoon. It's kind of like I subbed you out as my travel buddy and replaced you with a fiery Italian.
You upgraded.
I definitely, no, Greg, of course I didn't upgrade. But
Right,
anyway,
with me,
she's obviously
Megan
going to be a
Jacobi,
force to
the
be reckoned
world-
with. How important could it be, the fact that she's really focused and narrowed down on her run?
Yeah, that feels like the big area, like potential area for improvement for her. She's very strong on the stations, like very strong athlete. She hasn't come from a running background like a lot of these athletes, so we don't really know where her ceiling is yet. And if she continues to focus on it, continues to improve, chip away at a time, like, yeah, she could be like a real contender for like winning these races eventually.
Yeah, honestly, really excited to see it. Now, the other qualified athlete that somehow we've got through this entire pre-show and not even mentioned is Michaela Norman. She's had a roller coaster of a year. I mean, we can go into it. She has had heart issues that kept her out of the World Championships. She's then had an iron deficiency that off the back of Stockholm, she was wondering, how have I kind of got so ill so quickly? And then she was also in a car crash. You know, this is just one thing after another, yet she is still on the start line. What do you think that says about her mental perseverance?
Yeah, she's got huge mental perseverance. Like when she returned from her heart issues in her first race, came back in Dubai, like got a PB, like a really strong time that would have been a world record like not too long ago. She hasn't performed to her potential since that heart issue, we don't think, because like in her first race in HYROX, she broke the world record. So we know what she's capable of. I think she just needs a good run, good run of health, and then we'll see what she's made of.
Absolutely love the unknown that awaits us, Greg. But of course, you're going to have to call us all through it. So be gone with you. Head to commentary. It was absolutely wicked to hear your thoughts. It's about time to introduce you guys to the third member of our team. He's up on the Thunderdome and amongst the crowds and ready to take you through all of the action. It's Till Schenk. Till, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you very much. Great to be on board today again. It's going to be a spectacular night here. For sure, you heard it out there. It's a stacked field. It's spectacular athletes that we're seeing here. We've got 6 athletes qualified for the World Championship already. We're seeing the reigning world champion, the 2022 world champion. We are seeing the world record holder. We had her in an interview earlier today, Megan Jacoby. She's saying, you know what, today might be the day for yet another world record. So we are in for a real treat here today, that's for sure. But, you know, we've heard it. It's about those qualification spots for the World Championship. That's what most athletes are here for today, but it's also the European Championship, of course. So a little more of a push, a little more prestige for our European athletes that we're seeing here today. Miriam from Roa, this Swiss woman, as we got Greg coming up here as well. Great to have him back on board. A very international field here. We look at it. The start list with Lauren Weeks, Megan Jacoby, Vivian Tafudo is in there, Chris Rugalowski. So very strong Lauren Griffith American field here. And then we've got Sweden, Italy, Germany. Very strong German fraction here as well with Linda Meyer, who's the only German so far who's qualified for the World Championship already. But we've got Alina Wilnow in there, Jennifer Nikolaus, Viola Oberländer, one of the very experienced athletes in the field here today. And I think, Greg, you can hear me by now. Good to have you back. I think we're getting ready for the walk-on. It's getting exciting here now.
It is. I was just saying with Lauren, I think this is some of the strongest lineups we've seen in the history of HYROX. This elite field on the men and the women's side is so strong. You know, obviously we've got people racing to win the race, people like Megan and Lauren, but then there's people like real contenders to claim that spot at the World Championships.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, you know, we look at some of the German names here, like Jennifer Nikolaus, for example, who just qualified for this major 2 weeks ago in Maastricht with a spectacular time. And she's just getting better and better and better. We remember her from the days when she started racing age group, often doubles and so on. And now she's here in the pro category, in the top 15, racing a major race, her first here in Vienna. And not the only athlete who's racing a first major in Vienna.
No, Lauren Griffiths as well. You know, she's been improving throughout the season. She ran a 1:02 in LA, which was like significant improvement on her previous races, and there's still like huge potential if you look at like her wall ball times. That's nowhere near like where Megan and Lauren is. So if she's been able to work on that and improve on that, then she can get like very close to winning this race.
It's a hard one to predict. I mean, obviously, you know, looking at the start field, obviously Lauren Weeks, we always need to look at her. Megan Jacoby, we need to look at her. But then Michaela Norman, you guys talked about it earlier. You know, she had a bit of bad luck with injuries, iron deficiency and everything. Just couldn't find her energy. It seems to be sorted now. And let's not forget, she hit the circuit with a bang in her very first race.
Yeah, she did. Huge potential. She's come from like a CrossFit background, broke the world record in her opening race. Always performs strongly, but I don't think we've seen her full potential yet because of the health issues that she's been experiencing. But she crazy training volume that she puts in. You know, really works hard. So when she can like all her ducks line up, then you know we could see a really fast time from her.
And it's an interesting one, like both in the women's and the men's later on tonight. Obviously, you don't want to miss that as well. 8:25 start tonight. We're seeing some athletes who've been holding back so far in the season a little bit. So even though like they're experienced athletes, they've got the pedigree and everything, they're a little bit of an unknown today.
Yeah, there's a lot of athletes like that. A lot of athletes that have been desperate to have already claimed their spot at the World Championships, because that can be a huge advantage. If you know you've qualified for a race in June like already, you can look to peak for that. So they'll be desperate to wrap it up today.
Oh, definitely. And we'll see in a moment who some of these athletes are as we're getting ready for the walk-on here today. And then obviously throughout the race, we will have time to talk a little bit about what it takes to qualify for the World Championship today, how we might be handing out the slots and so on. I said it before, we've got 6 athletes qualified already who are at the start line here today, which just proves how strong the field here at the Major is, as we've got our first athlete from France, the most experienced athlete in the race, incredible performances, race after race after race in her 40s from Jesper Kramer, Chris Rugloski, the 2022 world champion, Viola Oberländer. It feels like she's been around ever since the first race. She might actually have been. And then Kate Davey. You've been mentioning her in Stockholm already.
yeah, Kate Davey got a PB in Manchester just 2 weeks ago, so we know she's on form.
Jennifer Nicholas, we said it, qualified in Maastricht, getting better race after race. Sarah Piergianni, another one of the very strong British athletes.
Yeah, again, very strong, performed strongly in the majors so far this year, and she'll be looking to improve on that.
Elina Wilner, one of the youngsters in the race, 24 years young, and incredible spike in performance this year. So all the training's been paying off. Lauren Griffith in the mix, and then we always say it's the anti-HYROX athlete. Mirjam van Roo, when you look at her, an extremely strong athlete, so one to watch at the workout stations. Camila Massa, we got Vivian Tefuro from the United States.
4th in Chicago, Vivian, so she'll be looking to improve on that today.
Linda Meyer, a former world record holder from Germany. She struggled a little bit going into the season, but she seems to be fully back. And Michaela Norman, we talked about her debut race with a world record, and now the reigning world record holder from the United States, Megan Jacoby, and she announced it already. Today might be the day for yet another world record. And then last but not least, Lauren Weeks. I mean, how many fantastic duels have we seen from Lauren and Megan and Michaela out there, especially then in the later stages, Lauren and Megan. And it was, for a very long time, it was Lauren who would be, coming out on top. But Megan Jacoby has turned the tables. Definitely for this season.
She has, and it was only back in May at the World Championships where Lauren looked so dominant in Manchester. She really did dominate that race, looked so strong, looked relentless on the running. It's this season. I mean, Megan's obviously been very good since she's been in here, but it's this season in particular where she's looked like the dominant one. She's won both the majors. She's got the mixed doubles world record as well this season. So she's looking unstoppable at the moment, and like I was saying with Lauren earlier, Lauren Weeks is going to want to start closing that gap as we get closer and closer to the World Championships.
It's just, if you're looking at Megan Jacoby, it's going to be hard to beat her in the general condition she's in, and that includes the mental part. Whenever you see her training out there, posting videos and so on, she is just loving it. She's just loving to be active. She's loving to be training, coaching and everything. She takes the time for that. I mean, she's been given interviews just minutes before the start here and everything with a big smile on her face. She is the woman to beat as we are getting ready here. Ladies and gentlemen out there on the screens, this is the moment we've been waiting for here in Vienna. The countdown is on for the final major on European soil. You can hear the countdown in the background. We are ready for our women. They are ready for the race here in Vienna. Ladies and gents, let's do this. So, something we've seen in Stockholm was Lauren Weeks absolutely smashing it out on the run course. I mean, she was just gunning it. Megan Jacoby tried to stay with her for a little bit, eventually let her go. But then about 3 to 4 workouts in, it's like somebody pulled the plug on Lauren. Like, she just started fading for 2-3 works out, which was just too much. She was able to recover, hold the gap. Now we're seeing, I know it's only been like half a lap, but we see more women run with her. Does it look to you like Lauren might be following a different tactic here today?
Yeah, I am wondering that. She doesn't look like she's gone out maybe as hard as sometimes she otherwise would. Whether that's because the other ladies have gone out hard with her, I'm not entirely sure, but it doesn't look like they're pushing it too hard at the moment. Now, one dynamic in this race is that because people like Lauren and Megan and Linda and Michaela have already qualified, then they can try and push their time. Like Megan wants to go and get a world record, and so they are going to go out relatively hot because like, they want to push themselves. The danger is like just towing that line. You don't want to go too fast too soon and then just like kill yourself. So yeah, it's towing the line. They look like they're being sensible at that moment, I would say. This is Jennifer Nicklaus. You know, her debut in a major is up there with them at the moment. She's a very strong runner. Like you said, has done a lot of mixed doubles in the past, so she's used to the more intense side of HYROX, the running side. Yeah, interesting start.
But you know, I love it. Like you mentioned her, Jennifer Nicklaus, how she's taken charge. It's her first major. She only qualified 2 weeks ago. She went through the ranks, through the age group racing and everything, and here she is now in the Elite 15 race, and she's like, you know what? I'm here. I'm part of it now. I'm not holding back. I'm not shy about this. And it's just made that one turn and pushed in front of Lauren Weeks and is now, at least on the first run, leading the race.
Yeah, and if you are one of the stronger runners in this race, you maybe do want to try and do that. You want to try and stretch the field, make them run faster than they otherwise would want to see if you can like tire them early on. Make it play into your hands to a certain extent. She looks very comfortable there. She wants to turn this into a running race, if anything.
And how hard it is, I know she's not the strongest runner in the field, but just a moment ago at the very far end on the left-hand corner of the screen, we saw Linda Meyer, who's qualified for the World Championship. She is one of the fastest athletes in history. She used to hold the world record, and she is already like a good solid 50 meters behind. That just shows how fast the pace is, and you see it. Jennifer Nicklaus is like, hold on, are we turning already? Are we really going this fast? And she's double checking with Lauren Weeks, making sure she's got the right count here.
Yeah, you just touched on Linda. Linda is experienced in this race. Like she knows like she shouldn't go out too hot. If we think back to Chicago, she called Vivian Tafuto at the wall balls, really. She hadn't really seen her in that race until that point, and then she overtook her and finished third. So she knows how to time a race, how to pace a race appropriately. So I don't think she'd be too concerned at the moment of being behind. I mean, obviously she doesn't want to let that gap become too much, but she knows what she's doing.
I love it. You could just see it a second ago with Jennifer Nicklaus, how she stopped the lap on the run course to have her split there. And it's a nice thought, you know your pace that you can run, you want to stick to, but the reality is you are racing Lauren Weeks, you're racing Megan Jacoby, you're racing Michaela Norman, and so on. So really what you're doing is you go as hard as you have to stay with them.
Yeah, if you want to, like, I mean, a lot of these ladies are looking to qualify for the World Championships. That's their goal. They're not necessarily here to win this race. So some of these ladies will be looking at Megan and Lauren thinking, you can go, I'll let you go. I'm not worried about you in the slightest. It's the third, fourth, fifth spot that I'm interested in here. So, whether this is inexperience in going out with these two or not, remains to be seen.
You know, but even that tactically is something you need to be so careful about, because you have an idea how strong you are on the wall balls, but you never know how much the race takes out of you. And you mentioned it, like we saw it with Linda Meyer just catching Vivian Tatufo at the wall balls and then just going through. So you can be tactical to a certain degree, but you want to make sure you're really, really not just racing hard enough, but you need to push the competition hard enough.
Yeah.
You need to force their hand.
Yeah.
All right, and I think we've got Lauren down at the row or somewhere. Lauren, can you hear us?
Yeah, I absolutely can, guys. I'm just down here, like sideline alongside all of these athletes on their ski erg. Lauren Griffiths, who we were talking about a little bit earlier, on her debut at the Elite 15s, she got to the ski erg in 6th, and she went for the handle. She missed it. It took about 6 seconds in the panic to right it, and I can have no doubt that that kind of thing, how it can play on the mind of an athlete. The good thing is her mental resilience is just insane, and she is powering through probably at a slightly higher rate than she otherwise would to keep in touch with the girls.
Well, there you go. It happens to the most experienced athletes. I mean, we've seen, fortunately not in a major race, but recently Viola Oberländer, who's so experienced, has done this so many times, you know, race and make mistakes. And even Linda Meyer, who just raced a double and then, you know, went into the wrong workout station and got a penalty there, and, you know, they lost the win and a potential doubles world record on that day. So it just shows you're at the absolute limit. You know, you've got barely any oxygen that finds the way to your brain, because it's needed elsewhere in the body. So, you know, accidents happen.
Yeah, it's very easy to do in HYROX, especially with like all the crowd here, all the noise. Like the grid layout is different to what a normal HYROX would be. You've got to go, in particular today, they're coming into the rock zone and they've got a long run until they get to the grid section. So there's a lot going on, and that can distract you and lead to mistakes, and that's like missed laps, doing things in the wrong order, penalties, things like that, and that can really cost you.
And if you're looking at the screen right now, we see the distance that our athletes are into the ski erg there, and you can see like Lauren Weeks, Megan Jacoby, they've got the experience, they dialed everything in at the ski erg, and they've taken a solid 70 meters out of Jennifer Nicholas already, which is by now more than a handful of seconds. So a good advantage now for the two Americans, who are absolutely shoulder to shoulder at the ski erg, and then finishing the workout in just about 150 meters. And Jennifer Nicholas just trying to hang on. Do you think with the running pedigree she has, she will try and close the gap on that run course?
Yeah, I think she will. I mean, she probably knows that like the sleds, for example, aren't necessarily her strong point, and she wants to like make up the ground where she possibly can. Things like this opening run to stretch the field. Even the ski erg, she's reasonably strong on. She's not falling too far behind here, whereas Megan and Lauren are, you know, this is one of their strong points certainly. It's worth just saying that opening run, Jennifer did in 3:29. Now I know the first run is often like slightly different in HYROX, like not always necessarily a kilometre, but 3:29 on your opening run. Lauren Weeks and Megan came in at 3:30, so just a second behind. But that's very fast opening lap.
But I reckon she lost a good solid 15 seconds there, and you can see like all the other athletes out there, like a lot of them made up that deficit. You know, they passed Jennifer Nicholas there right now. You could see a little bit of panic in those last couple of pulls on the ski erg, trying not to lose too much time, with Lauren Weeks now taking the lead here in the front. Megan Jacoby in 3rd, definitely having her eyes on her.
So Vivian got out the ski erg first, and then Lauren and Megan were just a second behind, followed by Lauren Griffiths. So she made up for that like slight error. She is just 4 seconds behind Vivian, and then Camilla Massa shortly behind them.
And it is 23 seconds that Jennifer Nicholas actually lost at the ski erg. And Linda Meyer, who we talked about a moment ago, she did incredibly well at the ski erg. She made up a good of her running deficit now. But now we see Lauren Weeks definitely going for it.
It's quite a chunk of time that Jennifer lost there on that skier, even if it's not necessarily a strong point for her. We know like her running is. It'd be interesting to see what she does on this next run. Is she feeling good, or is she regretting going out so fast and it's hit her on the ski erg already?
But very excited to see Vivian Tafuto there. Really hanging on to Megan Jacoby. She's doing exactly what she needs to do. You know, having Megan just pull her along.
See, when I've talked to Megan and we saw like Megan in Stockholm and in Chicago really going out hard. She wants world records now. She's got the qualification tied up. This feels like a bigger gap than we've seen. I know like it's only the second run, it's relatively early on in the race, like she won't be panicked by this, but it is a bigger gap than maybe we've seen in Stockholm and Chicago. So whether she's not feeling as good as possible, whether Lauren's gone out particularly hard, like we'll see it in the next few runs.
Yeah, I mean, like we've seen Lauren in Stockholm, so I'm not getting too excited quite yet. You know, she's an incredibly experienced athlete, but I mean, let's be honest.
Sorry, I'll just interrupt you there. The thing that Lauren did do in Stockholm though was still finish second in a very, very good time. Like we almost like had written her off after those first 3 rounds when she looked like she was really, really struggling. But then suddenly she popped up at the wall balls and it was like, oh, she's second in a great time.
Oh, absolutely.
So she really dug in for that race. So we know that she can still pull a performance out the bag, even if she does go out quite hot.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, let's get real about it. You know, this is a major race, no doubt. But she is qualified for the World Championship. She's a reigning world champion. And a win is great. But a win in world record time is even better. So you got to risk it.
Yeah. And if you want world records, you have got to risk it. You can't be too conservative at any point in this race if you want to break a world record. It's going to hurt from very early on. When I've spoken to Megan about a world record, she says, yeah, it hurts, like from early on in the race. And you have to put yourself through that if you want to achieve that.
So looking at the second workout we're on the way to right now, we're seeing United States in 1, 2, 3, 4. It is time for our Europeans to make a little bit of a move here, you know, at the European Championships here in Vienna. All right, Lauren Weeks first down to the sled push. And here they come. Megan Jacoby in the mix. Vivian Tafuto is the next one, and then just about 7 seconds behind, we've got our next American in the mix here.
Lauren has moved that really well. That first length, that's moved really well. No need for a pause midway. I mean, that can sometimes be risky, like how your legs are going to feel after that, but it looks like it's moving well for her at the moment.
So, but in Stockholm, we saw it at the sled push. She did incredibly well for the first 2 lanes, and then that's like she pushed a little too hard. That's when the stopping started, and Megan was able to catch up a little bit. Now a perfect situation right there now for both Megan and Vivian that we're seeing shoulder to shoulder. You know, they're motivating each other. None of them wants to fall behind.
No, they don't, but if you look, Megan and Vivian have both paused on this second lap, and that's a second straight. That was Megan's second pause there, whereas we didn't see that from Lauren on the first 2 lengths.
No, she's got her first little stretch on the left-hand corner of the screen there just now. But she's got almost a lane ahead of the other 2 right now. So right now she is owning the sled push. She had a 6-second head start going in, and it'll be interesting to see how she's doing after she's finished here. But you can see they're just passing each other here, and she's probably going to finish that 4th lane just around the same time or before Megan Jacoby is finishing her 3rd.
I think Megan actually made an error there. She went too far in that lane there. She went a few meters more than she needed to. It's the last thing you need when you've already got a gap.
That is the last thing you need. All right, but these are 2 of the killer workouts, really. It's the sled push, the sled pull. I mean, that's literally, it's just asking every fiber of your body to work at the absolute maximum between the two workouts.
I think that's more than we've seen Megan struggle on a sled push than in previous races. There was another pause there. I don't think we've seen that from her in the last couple of races. And Lauren's looking really strong coming out this run. There goes Viola and Megan leaving the sled push. Viola's had a good sled push there to catch up to Megan.
You know, and Megan said it in the pre-race interview. She said, you never know how the body responds to a jet lag. She feels great, she's trained great, but you never know how the body responds. And this is something that's just so true. Like, you know, we had it with Lauren in Stockholm. There was nothing physically wrong with her. She didn't feel bad after the race or anything. It just sucked the energy right out of her, and she was traveling over from the US, so sometimes you respond well, sometimes not so well. And I'm pretty sure when it comes down to the World Championship in Nice, none of those athletes we're looking at right now is only going to arrive at the race site a day or two before the race.
No. And it is always an open question. I think some athletes deal with it better than others, and you never, like you said, you never truly know how it's going to affect you. It was a bit of an open question on Megan, I thought, before Stockholm, how she did with jet lag. She didn't necessarily perform quite as well as she wanted to when she came to Manchester for the World Championships, but she obviously did unbelievably well in Stockholm. So I'd almost like put to bed that like Megan couldn't cope with jet lag, but maybe it's hitting her today for some reason.
And this is huge right now, what we're seeing on the screen. Lauren Weeks is literally turning the corner. She's passing Michaela Norman now, and she's turning the corner before we saw Megan Jacobi or Viola Oberländer come around the turn behind her. So they cannot see her, and that mentally is got to be really tough, because now they don't have that carrot they can chase.
No, yeah, and that's it. Just passing Michaela Norman there, who really is like, you know, one of the third or fourth favourites for this race. I would say she's a minute and 25 behind Lauren leaving the sled push, which is a huge gap. So Michaela looks like she's really struggling today.
I mean, Lauren Weeks took 34 seconds out of Megan Jacobi at the sled push. That is huge. She took close to 40 seconds out of Vivian Tafudo. This is proper.
Yeah, and because the question then is, where do you catch it back up? Because Lauren, Megan's got no weaknesses, but neither has Lauren. There's no obvious station where it's like, I can claw back 40 seconds on Lauren. I mean, maybe it's in the runs, but at the moment, like, Lauren's looking really strong. She's come out of a really quick sled push, and she's looking strong on the run. So where are you going to catch up 40 seconds?
You know, right now, nowhere. If Lauren keeps going like that, nowhere, but let's not forget, this was the second out of 8 workouts here today. And it's fantastic to see Viola Oberländer in the mix there as well, still holding on to 3rd place on the run, really close to Megan Jacobi, and very different approach by the different athletes on how they tackle the season. Some are all in. They're fully focused on HYROX, they're barely doing anything else in between the races, and then you've got athletes like Viola, who's racing different race series, different styles, some outdoor racing, some obstacle racing, everything thrown into the mix, and it'll be interesting to see, you know, who had the better strategy on the way to the World Championship, and then at the World Championship taking place in the first week of June in beautiful Nice at the Côte d'Azur in France.
Yeah. Viola's in a good position right now. We have seen her go out very fast in the previous majors, and then not necessarily hold on to that. Like she suffered later on in the race. So it would be interesting to see what happens in the next few runs. Can she maintain that sort of pace? That said, we're coming up to the sled pull. She's actually got one of the best sled pull times ever in HYROX. So this next station certainly isn't a weakness for her. She can maybe extend the lead over the rest of the field here.
Just quick check here from Megan Jacobi. I think she wasn't sure about how many laps she's done, but Lauren Weeks already at the sled pull here under the watchful eyes of our head referee. And we'll see in a second how that run unfolded once we've got the chasers in, once we've got Megan Jacobi in. 40 seconds was the gap after the sled push. beautiful new setup that we've had for a couple of races now, where we've got one of the same athlete at the same, you know, station at the same spot at that grid in the middle here. Divided lanes, so you always know it's Lauren Weeks in lane 1, Megan Jacoby in lane 2, and so on, coming through here. Viola Oberländer in 3 in now.
So that was pretty much a whole length of sled pull that Lauren's got over Megan there.
53 seconds, so she took another 13 seconds out of Megan Jacoby on the run course alone.
Yeah, and then that race really for the World Championship qualifying spot, Viola's in 3rd there. She's 59 seconds behind Lauren, but really she's leading the spot to claim a spot at the World Championships, because Lauren and Megan have already got theirs. Vivian Tafuto is just a couple of seconds behind Viola as well, also looking for a spot. Then Lauren Griffiths, like my dark horse pick, if you like, is at 1:08 behind Lauren.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see, if we look at the mix there, to see who's really going to go through to the World Championship. Viola Oberländer, she has to watch out for Vivian Tafuto behind her.
You got Linda Meyer in 6th coming into that sled pull, but remember she's got a World Champ spot already. So 3rd, 4th, and 5th coming in there. They're chasing the spot. Viola, Vivian, and Lauren. And then Camilla Massa was in 7th. It's very close though. Camilla Massa is 30 seconds behind Viola there. And this is one of her stronger stations. She's a strong athlete, so she can claw back some time on some of these other athletes at the sled pull for sure.
And Lauren Weeks, I believe she's on her last lane now, as Megan Jacoby is just starting her 3rd one. Viola Oberländer, she's right there with Megan Jacoby. They're going at the same rate, same as Vivian Tafuto. And of course, Lauren Griffith as well. Incredibly nice, great racing here from the girls from the US.
Worth noting the run times coming into this sled pull. So Lauren did a 4:07, which was slower than her 2nd run. She did a 3:52 in run 2 and then 4:07. So she slowed by like 15 seconds on that run. But Megan's run was 4:21 compared to Lauren's 4:07. 4:21 is relatively slow for Megan. We didn't see anything like that on her performance in Stockholm. And she did a 3:58 in her 2nd run, so she was 23 seconds slower on that 3rd run.
All right, so that's a sign that maybe the jet lag is in the body, is in the system. We won't know for sure until we talk to her after the race. But hey, you know, we keep mentioning Stockholm, but we got to keep mentioning Stockholm. You know, we're talking, or it sounds a little bit like we're writing off Megan Jacoby, but we saw it in Stockholm with Lauren Weeks. In comparison to how she started out, she was fading hard, but she still came in a brilliant time in 2nd. You know.
Yeah. And you know that Megan is like strong in the latter half of this race. It was previously the battles in previous seasons. The battles between these two was like Lauren would go out hot, and then Megan had the potential to claw back time later in the race, in the lunges, in the wall balls. So we shouldn't read too much into this at the moment, but I think a 4:21 run from Megan in that 3rd run, substantially slower than run 2, makes you wonder whether she's suffering.
But this is a brilliant setup we're seeing going out off the sled pull now, with Megan Jacoby, with Viola Oberländer, with Vivian Tafuto, and with Lauren Griffith within 7 seconds out onto the run course, really close together. But a minute down on Lauren Weeks. So Viola Oberländer, she had 59 seconds going into the workout, a minute now, so pretty much the same time as Lauren Weeks. And here come Megan Jacoby, Lauren Griffith, Vivian Tafuto. That's our top 5 onto the run course after the 3rd workout of the day.
It's maybe worth adding that top 3 in a race qualify for the World Championships, unless any of those top 3 have already qualified, in which case it can roll down, but it will only roll down as far as 5th. So athletes wanting to qualify at a minimum have to get into the top 5 today. Now, in the top 3, leaving the sled pool was Lauren, who's already got a qualifying spot. Then it's Viola in 2nd place. She's chasing a spot. Megan in 3rd, already got a spot. So then it would roll down, another spot would roll down to full spot, which is Lauren Griffiths. Now, obviously, there's a lot of racing to do yet, but that's how it stands at the moment.
You know, we got to talk about it, obviously, because it's a very interesting scenario we're facing here right now. And let's take a quick look at the season. So I said it, this is the last major on European soil, but it's not the last chance to qualify for the World Championship on European soil. So we're going to Washington next. That's the next one. But then we've got basically the open qualifier race in Cologne at the FIBO, the fitness exhibition. So that's like a last shot for everybody.
Yeah. So these majors people have had to qualify for, but those last chance qualifiers, anyone can enter and claim their last chance to claim a spot at the World Championships, and anyone can enter that.
Anyone can enter that, and we are entering the roams of the grid down there with Lauren, who's back live.
Thanks, Till. It's just a small observation. I'm stood here at the sled pull, and you have never seen someone more relaxed and smiling through her run than Chris Rogloski. I know she's got a bit of time to make up, but I wouldn't count it out. And if it doesn't work here for her, she's intent on heading to DC as well. Not to mention the last chance qualifiers over in Annenheim. So yeah, keep your eye on Chris. She's looking really good out there.
Lauren, I think you can hear us down there, and you were straight on site. You saw everything. We've been speculating about Megan Jacobi maybe looking a little bit tired. What does it look like from close up?
I mean, she is looking slightly more fatigued than what we're used to, but honestly, she's qualified and proved herself many times over. So I can't imagine that she needs to go as full on every single time. As the girls come back, whoa, I almost fell over, to the burpee broad jumps, and Lauren has just got such a huge lead directly behind me right now. I'm going to head back to you guys so you can commentate on this. She's looking so comfortable. She hasn't just come here to compete, has she? She's come here to dominate.
Absolutely dominating she is. Thank you so much, Lauren, live from the grid down there where our athletes, I want to say, but it's really just one athlete at the moment at the burpees with Lauren Weeks, absolutely smashing it here at the major in Vienna. And you know, by this time, by this workout in Stockholm, the fading had started. It doesn't look like she's fading an inch right now, Greg.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. And Lauren just touched on it, but I think she's come here to almost state that Megan's not going to have it all her own way this season. If Megan had been able to come in and win the first 3 majors, it's so dominating, then you start to doubt yourself for the World Championships. I think Lauren, it was an important race for Lauren today to turn up and say, no, you're not going to have it all your own way. Now, obviously, she's not won yet, but she's looking really, really strong.
Honestly, I think psychologically, it's an important race, an important potential win, not just for Lauren Weeks, but for all the other athletes as well, because you know how it works. You know, Megan Jacobi, she's been unbeatable for the season so far. So you build this picture, you have this respect going into the race. But now Lauren Weeks might be dominating her. That's the way it looks right now. And it will open up the minds of the other athletes as well. And it will make Megan Jacobi appear beatable again.
Yeah. And the other thing that will open up in the minds of these athletes is if they can beat Megan, then it's another potential for a World Championship qualifying spot, because it only rolls down so far. How many of them can try and get in front of her and beat her and open up more spots for them? So yeah, very interesting. Just on the runs there, that run coming into the burpee broad jumps, Lauren ran it in a 4:03, so reasonably aligned with what she did on the 3rd run. Megan was 4:18, so she still dropped 15 seconds on the run there to Lauren, which we typically wouldn't see from Megan.
No, it's absolutely huge. And we can see them now down at the burpees. And of course, not just them, we see the competition trying to chase them down. I mean, Megan Jacobi having fantastic burpees right now. She is leaving Viola Oberländer, who came out 2nd out of the sled pull, leaving her, in her dust behind right now. And it is actually Vivian Tafudo and, of course, Lauren Griffith. Now, they caught back up. They're going past Viola Oberländer now. She's trying to fight back. It's a real duel right now, and we can't stress it enough. That is the duel we're looking at 4 potential World Championship qualification spots.
Yeah. So yeah, coming into this burpee broad jumps, it was Lauren and then Megan was 1 minute and 20 behind her. Viola was just 4 seconds behind Megan. Lauren Griffiths just 8 seconds behind Viola, and then Vivian Tafuto just a second behind Lauren Griffiths. So like 3rd, 4th and 5th, Viola, Lauren and Vivian, all looking for a World Championship qualifying spot, all very, very close together at this point. And then in 6th is Linda Meyer. She was 34 seconds behind Vivian, so a little gap between those two. But that 3rd, 4th and 5th, very, very close.
But it's almost ridiculous. If you look at it, it's like Lauren Weeks already went, all right, see you later, I'm out of here. And she's back on the run course with an almost 2-lane lead, like 2 burpee lane lead on Megan Jacoby. That is huge.
Yeah, and she's done a 3 minutes 15 on this 80 metres of burpee broad jumps. It's a very, very tough station. If you're struggling, you don't pull a 3 minutes 15 out. So it doesn't feel like she's gone out too fast. It doesn't feel like she's struggling yet. She's clearly feeling very, very strong.
They are fighting to the absolute limit here. Lauren Griffith taking another deep breath. You know, you can see she's absolutely exhausted at the burpees here, but she's got Viola Oberländer just a burpee ahead of her. And that's just going to motivate you to keep going, try to make it out onto the run course. And as ridiculous as it sounds, you know, the run course, you're trying to somehow recover at a 4-minute pace or faster for the next workout that's to come.
Yeah, the run after this, personally, when I race a HYROX, the run after this is the one that I struggle with the most. Like getting your heart rate back down to a reasonable level after 80 metres of burpee broad jump is for me the hardest part of the race.
Which one for you is the hardest in the days after the race? Which workout hurts the most in the days to come?
I raced in Manchester 2 weeks ago and I've just about recovered. It's my legs. I think it's the lunges that do me.
It is the lunges. Finally somebody who agrees. I absolutely second that without a doubt. But let's look at our women. We've got Lauren Weeks flying, absolutely flying. And we see Megan Jacoby behind her right now, but a lap behind her. You know, that's got to be frustrating. You see Lauren Weeks and you know, like, hold on a second. This is the scenario I'm used to, but not with a lap in between.
No, yeah. And it's like psychologically it affects you as well. If you're getting lapped by someone you want to be contending with, that hurts you psychologically. Especially when you see, like, she's running relatively strongly. She doesn't look like she's struggling too much at this stage.
Linda Meyer catching back up again. She's right in the mix there. You know, she's done it again at the workout station. We've seen how strong her wall balls are. She's one of those athletes who might be able, on a good day, to do the wall balls unbroken in competition. So still definitely a threat for the positions here. And on the one hand, it's not too bad because she's qualified for the World Championship already. But you mentioned the scenario before. The slots roll down to a maximum 5th position.
Yes, yeah. It's worth just pointing out there on the screen we saw Chris Ruglowski in 6th spot there. So she's clawing time back a little bit. I think she's overtaken Lauren Griffiths now. When we spoke to Lauren there, she just talked about how Chris comes through the field, and she did. Even when she won the World Championships in 2022, she was always like nowhere in the race until like midpoint, and then she just started clawing time back, and then did it at the wall balls. So she's in a very good position, knowing her strengths, knowing like she comes together in the latter half of the race. To be 6th now, I think she's one to watch here.
We are definitely watching Chris Ruglowski, but right now we're watching our race leader, Lauren Weeks. Everybody, I'm telling you right now, remember that face. We're going to see a lot more of her, not just this season, but in the coming years as well.
Let me get you excited, Till.
All right, get me excited.
So Lauren came into that row 33.02 into the race. Megan in Stockholm, when she broke the world record, came in at 33:28. So Megan is, Lauren is ahead of that world record.
We are ahead of world record pace, and we've got a nice little replay, I believe, from Vivian, who's just plowing through the field again. She's gone past Viola Oberländer a moment ago on that run course. Heading out, yep, she made that pass there. Fantastic burpees from her. Viola Oberländer and Vivian Tafudo, they both lost a little bit of time at the burpees. And there she goes out onto the run course as we got Lauren Weeks, our race leader, already 350 meters into the row erg as Megan Jacoby's just turning the corner there. She's going to be about 400 meters behind.
That's a long way. That's a big gap. We're coming up for two minute gap here. 1 minute 41 the gap coming in.
You see, this is the moment where Lauren Weeks, you just want to go and put a smile on and just quickly wave. You know, Megan, it's like, great you couldn't make it. I'm feeling superb. All right, we see a 2 minute pace right now by Lauren Weeks. So if that is about the pace we're going right now, she's going to end up with something close to the 4 minutes on the K that they got to row here today, which would mean she took another 25 to 30 seconds potentially out of Megan Jacoby on that run course. We're going to compare it in a second.
Yeah, Lauren ran a 3:51 there, so I said coming out the burpee broad jumps, that's a tough run. She's done it in 3:51, which is faster than faster than run 2, 3, and 4. And then Megan ran a 4:07, so still a strong run, but she dropped like 16 seconds to Lauren on that run there.
But here comes the competition. Here comes the duel for World Championship slots with Vivian Tafudo. And of course, Viola Oberländer in there. Linda Meyer, she's qualified already, but she just wants to show, I'm here, I'm back, I'm getting better race after race. She struggled hard end of the season last year with an injury. She fought back, she took her time, but she is definitely getting back on top of her game. The German, the former world record holder.
Just 13 seconds between third and sixth spot there. Vivian, Linda, Viola and Chris come in within 13 seconds of each other, so the race is really on for that spot.
And Chris got to make the move. You know, that's the thing. I mean, she is the 2022 world champion. She doesn't want to miss out on the world championships this year, but she needs to move up one spot, just one, you know, to make it in there. As we said, 3 spots theoretically up for grabs for the world championship, but the roll downs go to a maximum top 5. And right now, if we look into the top 5, we've got Lauren Weeks qualified already, we've got Megan Jacoby qualified already, and we've got Linda Meyer qualified already.
Worth just highlighting Kate Davey here. Kate Davies coming in 8th in the row as well. She's not far behind, you know, she's not too far behind Viola. We know she PB'd in Manchester just 2 weeks ago. She's strong in the second half of the race as well. So to come in 8th should be encouraged.
So Lauren Weeks is out of the rowing station, and somebody who is in is Lauren. Lauren, what's happening down there in the duel in the positions behind Lauren Weeks?
Well, you guys are wondering exactly where Chris Roglowski made her move. It was in the middle of the burpees. It was nothing short of absolutely phenomenal. She came in, I think it was about the 7th mark, and she overtook 3 people with her broad jumps. I mean, the burpee was almost by the by. The length that she was jumping to get ahead was phenomenal. And then you saw her leave alongside Viola Oberländer and Linda Meyer, literally on their shoulder. So she is well and truly getting herself into this race, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty undeniable, quite frankly, that she is gunning for qualification right here in Vienna.
So you are down there, Lauren, right now. Tell us your pick right now. We're not going to quote you on it in the end, but who looks the best? Who's going to take those slots?
That's a horrible question.
I know, I'm putting you on the spot.
I can't believe you've thrown that to me. I mean, obviously, Lauren Weeks, having already qualified, is pretty much a dead set, and I would love to see her go after this world record. Viola looks like the best I think we've seen her over the past 3. or the past 2 majors. Linda looks like she's kind of chilling, but we saw that from her in Chicago as well, and then she made a big move on the wall balls. So we know that she gets better as the race goes on. I think there's more motivation, though, for the likes of Tafuto, Viola, and Rogloski. And I think when you're in that deep, dark place, that plays a really big part of performance.
Lauren, I believe with that answer, you've just proven you've got a career in politics. This was
absolutely
a fantastic comeback. As neutral as it gets. I love you for that. All right, we're taking it up here, Lauren. Thank you so much for the quick insight there. But it is true, Linda Meyer looking like she's chilling a little bit, which is fun to say, you know, halfway into a HYROX Major down at the ski erg going like slightly faster than a 2-minute pace.
Yeah, but if she pushes the runs, if she can gain, you know, 10 seconds on a run on everyone, she can quickly claw the time back. She looks like she's chilling, but maybe that's, you know, maybe she's just feeling good, and then she's going to, you know, take stock at this row, and then the second half of the race really push it and see how far she can push herself.
You know, and it's not all coming down to the reps that you're pushing out here. We've seen it in the first workout at the ski erg, where Jennifer Nicklaus, who came in first, definitely had the highest cadence, and yet left as one of the last athletes at the workout station. So it's not just about the cadence. Linda Meyer is out. Viola Oberländer, she is out. What's it looking like for Chris Rugolowski? She's going to be out in a second as well. Oh, struggling a little bit to get out of the strap there. Losing just a second or two, but she is out onto the run course now as well. But Lauren Weeks, I mean, she does look maybe a fraction more exhausted when you look at her face, but she looks a lot more on than she did in Stockholm. You know, just looking at the camera right there, she's communicating with the athletes to get out of the way. She is absolutely feeling it right now.
Yeah, this running, how she looks now reminds me of Manchester at the World Championships, where she was so dominant, and like relentless was the word of the day there. She does look like she's suffering a little bit, but she's not letting her pace slow as a result. Like she's going through the pain, if you like, and running through it. So yeah, she's still running strongly, I would say.
But just to point this out, so place 3, 4, and 5 sort of kind of just left the workout station, as Lauren Weeks is now headed back into the workout station. I mean, the gap after the row, close to 3 minutes for the competition with Linda Meyer, with Viola Oberländer. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, very, very big gap. In a field of this quality, no, I said it's one of the strongest fields we've ever seen in HYROX. In a field of this quality, to be leading the race by this much is very, very impressive. Now, this farmer's carry station used to be a little bit of a weakness for Lauren. I mean, I'm probably going back to before Manchester, and she put that to bed by like performing very well. So, you know, it'd be interesting to see how she does here. If she can go unbroken, you know, really get this done. And then get into the last few stations of the race, she'll be very, very encouraged with how things are going.
It is such a brutal workout, isn't it? I mean, like your body is tired already, your legs are tired, and it's just the core is so hard to keep stable. It's like Earth's gravity just tenfolded, and it's trying to pull you down, and it's trying to pull Lauren Weeks down, but she is fighting through. She knows she's going to lose more time by dropping those kettlebells now, by stopping and trying to push through. Oh, she is absolutely gritting it out there.
So she got into this farmer's carry at 41.32. Now, if we compare that to Megan's time in Stockholm, Megan got into the farmer's carry in 41.58. So, yeah, Lauren's, you know, over 20 seconds ahead of Megan's world record pace in Stockholm.
20 seconds ahead of world record time right now, and gone through her week workout, if we want to call it that. Unbroken, just going through there, and she is back, and she's instantly flying. And if you've not done this workout before in a competition, you cannot comprehend how hard this is on the legs, how hard it is to get the legs running straight after. But she is just absolutely flying, going through Alina Wilnow here, who is a couple of laps behind at this stage into the race. Yeah. Lauren Weeks, I mean, right now, She looks like a world record athlete.
Yeah, she does, and it's worth pointing out here that like Alina is a very strong runner. Like that's one of her strengths. She's very strong in the second half of the race. We've seen her in races before where she's really come into it in the second half. So, and Lawrence just passed her with ease there.
But then you look at Megan Jacoby and you look at her face, and it's like it's almost, maybe it's just because we know how much she smiles, but there's like this hidden smile that just wants to come out. You know, like midway competition. Such an energetic athlete, always happy to spread, you know, like some happiness out there on the course. Not her strongest day today.
We've seen athletes in the first couple of majors when they have been jet lagged. This is one station that they've really struggled on. You know, it's not always typically. On their best day, these athletes will all go unbroken on the farmers' carries, but when they are suffering with jet lag, it seems to be a station where they struggle. So Megan's doing well here at the moment, though.
Well, and then look at that. It looks like we've got Linda Meyer coming into third. Viola dropped back to fifth. All right, we've got Megan Jacoby on that last lane now. She does look a little stronger getting out off the farmer's carry than Lauren Weekstead. Or not getting out of it, just finishing the farmer's carry. But then for Lauren, it was instantly snapped back into running mode.
Yeah. So Megan was 2 minutes behind Lauren leaving the farmers' carries there. Coming into the farmers' carry, we saw Linda in third. Then Vivian was just a second behind her. Then Viola was just 5 seconds behind behind Vivian, sorry. And then is Chris Ruglaski in sixth, but she's 24 seconds behind.
Chris did lose a little bit of time on the run, but then just looking at it, with Linda Meyer and Vivian Tufudo, they're running the same pace. Viola Oberländer struggling a little bit to keep up with the pace. And there we go with Michaela Norman in the white running singlet in the long tights. The former world record holder from Sweden, still trying to find her ultimate racing legs.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a good day for Michaela. Michaela doesn't always lead from the front by any means. She does come through the pack again, but this is she's much further behind than she'd want to be at this stage.
A little bit of trouble right there for Chris Ruglaski, who dropped the kettlebells. The chance for Lauren Griffith to go through, to go past her.
Lauren Griffith's got a OCR background. You know, her grip is very, very good. She's going to be strong on farmers' carries.
Two more workouts. We got the sandbag lunges, and then we got the wall balls coming in our Elite 15 race here. The major, the European Championship in Vienna. Lauren Weeks in the lead ahead of Megan Jacoby. Linda Meyer in third. That's our top three. And then Vivian Tufudo, Viola Oberländer, Lauren Griffith in there, and Chris Ruglaski.
So as it stands there, those top three leaving the farmers' carries, they've already got a spot at the World Championships, those three. And that's the top three that we've seen in the majors so far this year. So then that would mean that spots will roll down to fourth and fifth, which at the moment is Vivian Tufudo and Viola Oberländer. Lauren Griffiths and Chris Ruglaski not too far behind. And Lauren's looking strong on these lunges, you know, stepping through. When you start to get those pauses, that's when you see they start to struggle. But at the moment, she's stepping through, looking good.
And Greg, you're the numbers man. Give me the numbers. You know, after the farmers carry or going into the sandbag lunges, I can work with either.
So into the lunges, 47.04, Lauren, which is 30 seconds ahead of Megan's world record pace.
30 seconds ahead of world record pace. So she's just getting faster.
She's getting faster, and like if she can get through this station relatively unscathed, get a good last run in. We know she's good on the wall balls. She typically will go unbroken on the wall balls. So even if her cycle rate isn't as good as Megan's was on a world record, she's not going to drop too much time there, presuming that she does do it unbroken again. Obviously, we can't always assume that.
We'll be watching her very closely. She's still going super strong at the sandbag lunges here. This, to all the viewers out there, is what a potential world record pace at the sandbag lunges looks like. Lauren Weeks, if you're joining us late here, she took charge earlier in the race here. She went straight to the front after the first workout, on the way to the second, and she's not surrendered this lead. She's constantly extended it. She's heading into that last lane of lunges. As Megan Jacoby is now just coming in for her lunges.
Yeah, 2 minutes 15 behind Lauren there, so that gap has actually extended somewhat on that last run there.
Yeah, another 15 seconds on that run.
Yeah, 3:52 for Lauren on that run there, which is really, really strong at this stage of the race.
I'm not sure I could run an individual 3:52 1K right now. Let alone after the workouts they've done already.
Megan, this is a strong station for Megan, and again, it's like she's stepping through here. She's looking good. I mean, the gap obviously feels like it's too much for her to close at this stage of the race, but she's looking relatively strong here.
Okay, going into the sandbag lunges, of course, you know, you never know. Linda Meyer, she is coming in. She's qualified. So we've got Vivian Tefudo right now is the first potential qualifier for the World Championship coming in. And behind her is Viola Oberländer, but she needs to look over her shoulder because whoever's coming from behind after the run course, she cannot let them pass through. And the wall balls are not necessarily Viola's strongest element.
No, they're not. Vivian in fourth here, she'll remember Chicago when she was taken by Linda. She won't want that to happen again. Like she narrowly missed out on that World Championship qualifying spot. So she's really going to want to push. She's really going to be mindful of like not letting herself slow down, like doing her best to fend Viola off, because she won't want to lose that spot again. But that said, like I was saying a minute ago, at the moment, 4th and 5th would qualify for the World Championships. So.
And what an incredible day it would be for Viola Oberländer, another one of the athletes who did struggle a fair amount with injuries, slight overtraining issues and so on in the past, and it took her longer than she had hoped for to come back. And she's one of those she's very critical with herself in analyzing what happened and what went wrong and so on, a little overcritical at times, and it's fantastic to see her right now in a potential spot to qualify for the World Championship. Michaela Norman now coming from behind. Same as Lauren Griffith, for example. But right now, Viola's got about a lane and a half, not quite, of a head start on the competition coming from behind.
Yeah, it's a big gap, but Michaela is very strong on the lunges, very strong on the wall balls.
Yep.
It's almost a given that she'll be unbroken on the wall balls. That's certainly not the case for Viola. So, yeah, she's going to want this gap at this point because Michaela's actually looking reasonably strong here on the lunges.
And you can see with Viola looking at her down there, she does struggle with her balance every once in a while. It's just a sign of how tired the body is at this stage of the race. And you can see, all right, so Chris Ruglowski and Michaela Norman. Right now, looking at the sandbag lunges, they're probably the biggest threats for Viola Oberländer for that potential next World Championship qualification spot.
Worth adding that Lauren's 28 seconds ahead of world record pace leaving the lunges.
28 seconds ahead of world record pace leaving the lunges. So she dropped 2 seconds there, but absolutely nothing lost without a doubt. And there is some movement. If we look at the sandbag lunges right now, it's going to be interesting to see how it is on the way out. We had Linda Meyer, Vivian Tefudo coming into the lunges, and then Viola Oberländer, Michaela Norman, Lauren Griffith, Chris Ruglowski, and Kate Davey. And I think Kate Davey is flying through the sandbag lunges right now, what I'm seeing from up here. So a lot happening. And, you know, it looks like big gaps, but it's the wall balls. You know, it's the ultimate enemy that you can have at the end of a HYROX competition. And then when you're racing at this level, with Linda Meyer now on the way out, she is leaving the lunges. Viola Oberländer now finding a little bit of extra energy there in the last stages of the lunges here. She's done, she drops the back, and she is off out onto the run course. And this is huge for her. She has gone past Vivian Tafuda again. Vivian might catch her on the run lap, but a very strong move from Viola Oberländer, especially looking at Michaela Norman, who's struggling a little bit right now at the lunges here. She started super strong, but she is now losing time on Crystal Rugloski again.
Wall balls aren't a strong point for Viola or Vivian actually either, so they're going to want a gap. They're going to be aware of that. They're going to be aware that Michaela is closing behind them. So yeah, they're not going to want to slow down on this run because they're going to want as much gap as possible.
All right, here she comes. We're getting ready for the final workout, and we're going to look at the times for sure. We're going to let you know, does she have the shot at the new world record here in Vienna at the major or not? Spectacular racing so far from Lauren Weeks, 28 seconds ahead of the world record coming out of the sandbag lunges, and here she goes. Greg, you said it before, she's one of the athletes who can potentially go unbroken.
Yeah, 100% she can go unbroken. So she's very much ahead of world record pace here. Got in at 54.58 into the wall balls.
So that gives her almost 4 minutes for the wall balls. Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. Yeah, and typically they would do this in maybe I want to say like 3:10 to 3:15 if they're going unbroken. So it's, she's got a decent amount of time to play with.
This is absolutely huge. What we're seeing here from Lauren Weeks. This is a very clear message to Megan Jacoby out there saying, hey, listen up. You had a good roll, you had a good run, but I'm back.
Yeah. I've got to say, I didn't see this coming. But it's not entirely unexpected that she can come in and win this race after losing the first two majors, but to come in, dominate it so much, and get what looks like it could very well be a world record. I didn't see this coming at all after those first two majors.
Oh no, not at all. Absolutely spectacular. The fashion. She's proven her point here. And you know, if we look at it and just hypothetically, if you had the choice between the world record or the world champion title, what'd you go for this year?
She wants both. She wants both.
She wants both without a doubt. And right now, it looks like she's accomplishing mission number one. I mean, we are talking about 30 to 40 seconds ahead of world record pace going into that workout station. And she's looking strong. She's still going unbroken here.
Surrounded by the Thunderdome as well. Hundreds of people here to watch this.
And I believe Faisal, our man on the ground on the microphone, just set 70 wall balls for Lauren Weeks. 70 wall balls ahead of Megan Jacoby. It's the scenario that we had in Stockholm just reversed.
Yeah.
You know, it looks like Megan Jacoby completely just, lost any pace out there, but she didn't. She has a super strong race, but Lauren is just absolutely shining on the day here in Vienna, and you can hear the crowds in the background. You can see Faisal taking a close look here. It is the final wall balls for Lauren Weeks, and we are looking at the time here. What's going to be the finish time for Lauren Weeks? 58:52 is the time she needs to beat.
She smashed it. Absolutely smashed it.
Did you see that? She had that smile on the face. I believe it was a 58:04, and this is what Megan Jacoby said in Stockholm. You know, sometime next season they're going to break the 58. They're going to go down to 57. I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen this year. It's going to happen. 58:04.
Unbelievable performance. Unbelievable. Dominated it from start to finish. after not performing in previous majors and getting close to breaking the 58-minute mark. We certainly didn't see a time like that coming at all. Unbelievable performance from Lauren.
That is absolutely wild. 58.04. And I tell you right now, this is officially the beginning of the race to beat the 57. And this is going to be such a motivational boost, not just for her, but for Megan Jacoby as well. You'll see it, I guarantee you, coming across the line right now. She's going to be all smiles. She's going to have the biggest hug for Lauren Weeks there. But then it is back to the workouts as soon as she's back in the US. And she's just going to put that extra bit of effort into there to potentially be the first athlete to go under 58.
Yeah, incredible. It's just over a year since I spoke to Megan on my podcast, and we were talking about, is it possible for a woman to break the 60-minute mark? And then a year later, we're talking about the 58-minute mark already, like to 2 minutes quicker. Unbelievable from her today, unbelievable. And it's not like, sometimes we talk about quick courses and slow courses in HYROX. It's not like everyone's gone amazingly quick today. Lauren has really dominated this race with that time.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, like, you know, she said it kind of jokingly, in a way, after Stockholm. She said, Hunter McIntyre, us women, we're coming for you. We're coming for your times. Hunter, if you're listening in right now, they are coming for your times.
So worth saying that in all that excitement, there's still some spots at the World Championships up for grabs, and it's you know, the top three coming into the wall balls have already got spots. So Viola was in 4th, and then Vivian was just 7 seconds behind her coming in there. As it stands, those two would both claim a spot.
I think what really matters is to see the time of Michaela Norman, who just came in, but she is more than a minute behind. And even though it's not the strongest workout for somebody like Viola Oberländer, you know, she's got a big shot. And here comes Megan Jacoby. You hear the noise, and there is the smile, an exhausted smile. And, you know, beautiful pictures that we just see what makes the sport. It is Lauren Weeks down. She is on the floor, and she is shouting at the other athletes. She's shouting at Vivian, she's shouting at Viola. She knows exactly who has a chance of qualifying for the World Championship here, and she, as the world record holder, is down there at the final workout shouting at them, pushing them to give it their best shot to make it to the World Championship and create an even stronger field for Nice.
And that's a time of 1 hour and 26 seconds from Megan. So very, very impressive time still. Like we thought she was struggling. I think the reality was that Lauren was just so strong in that race.
Oh my word. I mean, you know, if you look at the time, that's a minute and a half over world record, or the former world record. That is still super fast, you know, just being flown over from the US. But look at them both down there, absolutely giving it, you know, everything that's left right now just to shout at the other athletes, to push them on. And Viola Oberländer, she's struggling, but you see, that's when she needs the other women to push her on, because this is her shot.
Yeah.
This is the chance for Viola Oberländer. Vivian Tafuto, she's looking great, she's doing well. Right now, Viola, she's leaving it all out there.
This changes so much about these athletes next few months. Like if they could get a spot right here, that changes training, how they think, how they push themselves, where they have to race for the next few months. And there's Linda coming in 3rd there. That's 3 third-place finishes for Linda in the majors so far this season. Really, really strong.
Incredibly consistent. You know, she can always rely on the wall boards towards the end. You can pretty much say, you know, like, nobody's going to take anything from her at the wall vaults. You know, if she knows she's coming in 3rd at the wall vaults, you know, in worst case, she's going to be 3rd at the finish line.
Yeah.
Okay, and here we go, Viola Oberländer. This is the qualification for Viola Oberländer for the World Championship. And look at Lauren Weeks. She knows exactly how huge this is for Viola Oberländer. Look at those beautiful pictures. They are sharing the excitement. Another one who's got the qualification. And now we're looking at Vivian. Is Vivian going to be able to take that 2nd spot that's up for grabs here? 1, 2, and 3 in today's race. They were qualified already. So 4th and 5th still have the chance to qualify. Viola Oberländer coming in 4th. Her flexing her arms, that's beyond ecstatic for her right now.
Yeah. Brilliant from Viola. I think she was maybe 9th or 10th in Stockholm, can't remember off the top of my head, but certainly like didn't perform as strongly as she'd want to. So to come back and do this today, she'll be so pleased with that.
Absolutely brilliant race, and we've got Vivian here. She is through. Vivian Tefudo, she is in. She's joining us at the World Championship. She's 5th today. She was 4th in Chicago. So another super consistent race. And that is Linda Meyer's mother, a age group world champion.
I was going to say, very, very strong athlete herself.
Yep.
102.04 for Linda, 102.33 for Viola, 102.41 for Vivian. So 102 is very, very strong racing.
Yeah, we're going to see Linda's mom race tomorrow for sure. She pretty much races every race. And now hugging Viola Oberländer. She is happy like I've rarely seen her before. Michaela Norman, she came here for more, without a doubt. She left it all out there. It just wasn't enough on a super strong day like today.
She does. She pushes herself so hard in her race and in her training. Like, I think she trains like 5 to 7 hours a day. She really, really pushes herself, but she has had health issues, like anemia. She's been struggling with lately. She's had a car accident, but she continues to push herself. But you know, I think secretly she's going to be hoping to win the World Championship still. So if she can get her health sorted over the next few months, she can be a contender. But yeah, she's not quite there at the moment.
No, and you know, like opportunities to qualify, you know, time is slowly ticking away.
So there's Chris Glacier is coming in 7th there in 104.05. An encouraging performance for Chris. I think she maybe will have one eye on Washington DC in a few weeks' time, and like can use this as like encouragement for the lead up to that race.
Elina Wilno in as well. You know, some are saying she is the future of the sport, one of the very young athletes at 24, doing incredibly well as well. And, you know, another reason why this is huge for an athlete like Viola Oberländer is she now does not have to take the trip to the US. And let's face it, those trips, they take a lot of energy out of you. It's hard to keep up with your regular training at the building and everything. So it's huge for her that she has the choice to still go, but she doesn't have to go anymore.
No, yeah.
She punched that ticket.
And she's got a busy job as well. She's not a full-time athlete that can do all that travel. So yeah, to have that sewn up and not have to travel to DC or try and get a place in the last chance qualifiers, she'd be really, really happy with that.
Oh, absolutely. What a spectacular kickoff to the major here in Vienna, everybody. Lauren Weeks, Megan Jacoby, Linda Meyer, the top 3. They were qualified already. So we had Viola Oberländer and Vivian Tefudo taken 4th and 5th, and with that the Rodan qualifier for the World Championship. Lauren, she was live with all the action down onside. Lauren, just quickly, we're basically still out of breath up here, so are all our viewers. What just happened?
Honestly, it's been absolutely amazing as we see all of the girls kind of getting everybody across the line. It's one of the nicest things about our sport of HYROX, but another rather wonderful thing is Viola Oberländer qualifying for the World Championships. And Viola, you've had the most stressful month in your job. Did you even imagine this was possible this weekend?
Oh, and I had on Wednesday, 2 days ago, I had an accident with my bike and the car. And yeah, well, I'm so happy because I didn't know if I can start or not, and then I said, okay, I will try it and give my very best, and now I'm qualified for the race. That's really incredible, and I never thought about that. That's crazy, but I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
What do you think it says about your mental toughness that you can face adversity in the eye, a car crash with your bike, and then put in a performance like that?
Here and here and here, and my head, I don't know, because the last race in Stockholm and Chicago, my head was very bad. I had a really, really bad mindset. So I gave up at the burpees, at the lunges, and I said, okay, fuck off. It's not my race. And today I thought, oh wow, the running felt very, very good. I really improved my running skills in the last 2 months. Yeah, it worked. I'm so happy. I really am so happy. I had a big struggle at the wall balls. I think that was really my mindset. Because in training I can do it unbroken after every interval. There's no problem. And here I did, I think, 2 or 3 breaks, I don't know. But I'm so happy. I'm so happy, really.
This is the Viola Oberlander we want to see turn up in Nice in June.
Pays off, really. I'm happy.
Till, Greg, back to you guys.
This is the happiest I've ever seen Viola Oberländer. Let me tell you, she's German. We do not do excitement, but she is beyond ecstatic, and for good reason. She mentioned it, you know, and we didn't want to talk about it in the race because she decided to race, but she got literally knocked off her bike by a car just the evening before coming here. She decided to get on a train here anyways, and then she absolutely smashed it and showed the race of her life. What a spectacular display of just the mindset that has changed so much. So fantastic race by Viola Oberländer that we've seen today as we're slowly getting the final athletes of our top 15 across the line here at the major in Vienna. Greg is on the way down towards Lauren as well, and of course stay with us because we're going to have the analysis from the two in a moment on how the race unfolded and why it unfolded the way it did, and maybe a little lookout at what that means for the coming races as well. And then of course we're going to jump into the men's race in not too long as well. The start of the pre-show there at 10 minutes past 8, and then the race started at 8:25, so not long to go. Quick conversation here. What a race we're seeing. Camila Massa down there in a chat with Megan Jacoby. Straight into the race analysis for the athletes as well. Not sure what they are discussing right now, but a new world record here in Vienna. Megan Jacoby said it, and Lauren Weeks delivered it, and in absolutely fashion. And since I mentioned her, she knows much better how her race went, and she's down with Lauren right now.
Oh, Till, I'm absolutely going to chat to Lauren Weeks in just a second, but first I have a new qualifier for Nice, Vivian Tafuto. I mean, Vivian, you put everything on the line. You missed Stockholm because you were going to do DECA, and then you got really ill.
Yeah, well, got COVID. Not too bad.
But to then come to Vienna and make your mark, how important was this?
Yeah, my family already booked their vacation around me making worlds, so I'm just glad I didn't ruin the family vacation. So I'm really, really happy. I was definitely eyeing where everybody was in the field and trying to make sure I got in the top 5, and it's a big relief. It's a really big relief, and it's always an honor to race all the really good people. I mean, Lauren was on another level. I mean, she always is, and Meg too. But I'm just really happy that I get to do this, and I'm really happy there's a lot of pressure off now for the rest of the season. So I'm a happy camper right now.
I'm assuming you'll go to DC with a slightly different mindset then in terms of how you approach racing?
Yeah, I'm still thinking about what I'm going to do in DC. I might do the GoRuck, or I might take another opportunity to race, but after that much of an effort, it's a hard thing to wrap your mind around, do it again in just 3 weeks. So I'm just going to kind of relax, listen to my body, and decide what I'm going to do. I'm definitely going to go because I have friends there, but we'll think about how that's going to go a little bit later.
I know you were working hard on your burpee broad jumps. Did you execute? Were you happy with that?
We'll have to see what the splits are, but I didn't fall super behind this time. I actually passed some people, which is shocking. So yeah, I'm really happy. I've done literally thousands of burpee broad jumps and burpee box jumps since Chicago, so I'm really happy that showed out, at least in the overall time today.
You were absolutely phenomenal. I'll give you a sweaty hug. Oh, and now let's head over and find our new world record holder and European champion, Lauren Weeks. Oh my God, that was utterly phenomenal. You didn't just come to compete, you dominated.
Thank you, I appreciate it. It was a really, really deep field, so it was incredible to be out here.
What was behind that performance?
Honestly, I was really upset to leave my daughter at home for this one because it was so far away. I'm gonna be upset, but so I don't know, I just wanted to go and make it worth it and give it my all, and it worked.
It wasn't just your all. You were the only woman to break the minute mark. In terms of inspiring your daughter, when she watches you, what do you want her to see in your actions?
Well, she's only a year and a half right now, so yeah. So I don't know what she's processing, but I just hope that she sees all of us working hard and struggling and pushing through it, and maybe someday I'll be able to kind of just teach her how to push through like the discomfort.
Feels like it's game on for World Champs.
I'm very excited for it, yeah.
We're very excited too. Massive congratulations. And I hope you get to share this with your little one when you get back home. Go and enjoy the moment. And we will go and find our favourite travel body, Greg Williams, everybody, from the Rocks Life. Oh, Greg, what a race. What's your reaction from that? You look teary.
I must admit, I was saying to Teal, I did not see that coming from Lauren. That was an unbelievable performance, dominated. After Chicago, after Stockholm, where she's looked strong, but not strong compared to Megan, and there has been a gap. But to come out with that confidence and lead like that from the start, and then put in that performance, smashing the world record, not just by a few seconds, but like smashing it, really, really impressive.
Honestly, one of my favourite things about her as a person is how humble she is about it. And she says that performance was purely down to leaving her daughter, nothing to do with the fact that she's come second 2 out of 3 times. What does that tell you about her as an athlete and like how at home she is with herself as a person? Yeah, very understated, isn't she? And I feel like when you talk to Lauren outside of a race, it's vastly different to what her mentality is in a race. She looks like an animal during a race, and she's so dominated. And then you speak to her afterwards, she's so quiet and understated. Two very different people, I feel. She was something else out there. We're seeing her highlights on the screen right now. It wasn't even like she relented. She got an early lead and just never gave it up, only extended. I mean, to be out on your own like that is no easy task. No, it's not. And that's where, like, that early in the race, it really opened my eyes, because I thought, has she gone out too hot here? Has she gone out too hot? But then the sled push, she was so strong on, looked really like unbroken really on the lanes. And that's when I thought, wow, she's feeling good here. As you can see, that our last athlete.
So this is Lauren Griffiths coming in the wall balls. I think she I don't know, I think she maybe passed out at some point during the race, and so but she still got up and carried on. I don't know the full story behind it.
No, nor do I, but she's got the full support of the Elite 15 around her. One of the nicest things about HYROX, right, Greg? Everyone always there and supporting to the very end. Yeah. And Lauren was looking really, really strong up until, I'm not sure, but fairly late in the race. She was really in contention for the World Championship qualifying spots, and then something must have happened. And she's coming a long way behind here, but she's kept going. Fair play to her. She's come in, she's wanted to do these wall balls, and she's looking good as well while she's doing them. I have just found out, actually, into my ear, she fainted halfway around the course, and she was insistent on finishing the race. Wow. Fair play to finish the race after fainting and coming in doing these wall balls. She looks like she's going to go close to unbroken here, and wall balls hasn't been a strong point for her in her races so far this season. But on the subject of people that might have had a couple of issues out there, Camila Massa, we obviously pinned her as someone who could go for a qualifying spot. Did you see what happened out there? No, I didn't see what happened. I mean, it just early on in the race, she was in contention. She was like where we thought she might be, up there with Vivian, Linda, Viola. But then it just seemed to drop off. So whether, I don't know. I mean, we know she's nursing that horrible hand injury from Chicago. And I mean, I saw it up close the other day, and it wasn't like it was like slightly black. It's completely blown up, and I'm sure that played a small part. As you can hear, all of the crowds here in Vienna getting behind Lauren Griffiths on her debut. This is one to remember. Like, actually, for the maybe not the right reasons, but also all of the right reasons. Yeah. It shows like so much support from the other athletes in this sport. The crowd here, the Thunderdome has been fantastic. It's her first time on the grid, first time in an elite race. Certainly memorable for her. It's one of the nicest things, though, about the environment that this sport is in. The ladies, they're all friends. I speak to them ahead of every single race, and I talk to them about what their plans are and how they're going to approach it and why the sport means so much to them, how they found it. And nearly every single one of them talks about the friendship amongst the girls, amongst the gents. Yeah. And I think they appreciate the competition as well. I've spoken to Megan, and she appreciates that there's other women here pushing her, because it helps to push them all on, helps to drive them all on to better times. Lauren Griffiths then on her final 10 wall balls. As you can hear, Mr. PMA, Faisal, counting her down. One more wall ball. And that, I think, was a bigger victory than anything would have been.
Unbelievable. To fake during a race and then finish like that. Incredible.
Unbroken too.
Wow.
Yeah. These are the moments that go down in history books.
Yeah.
They don't,
Yeah.
I mean, winning a race, breaking world records, history book moments, fainting and going unbroken on the warbles. This is why we do this.
Love it, love it. This is unbroken warbles from someone that where warbles hasn't been a strong point either. And she's got unbroken after fainting. She have to do that every race.
Anyway, we're going to leave the girls to it so they can recover and just get themselves kind of back down to earth. A few of them racing tomorrow as well with various partners. Here are the results. I mean, Lauren Week's top spot, unbelievable, but only her going under a minute. Is that expected here?
Under an hour.
Sorry, yeah. God, it'd been very fast if it was a minute, wouldn't it?
Well, I was saying to Till, like, it's not too long ago where we were questioning whether anyone could even go under the hour, and like Megan was the first to do it. But 1 hour and 26 is by no means like a slow time in this sport. It's an incredibly impressive time. We wondered if she was struggling early on in the race, but it's not a huge struggle to finish in 1 hour and 26 seconds. It just shows how dominant and impressive Lauren was today, I think. It's also worth saying, that
okay.
like previous world record times were in the 102 sort of region, where like 3 ladies done that to hit 102 today and 2 ladies beat it, whereas probably like 18 months ago that was a world record.
Now, this is an overview of what we've just witnessed. Lauren, obviously, for so much of that wasn't with the pack, and it really took off after that ski. She was just gone.
Yeah. It reminded me of the Manchester World Championships. Her running, you come out of that station and look so strong and relentless. She wasn't slowing, she was passing people on the runs that were very, very strong runners. It was incredible.
Viola Overlander, Vivian Tafuto. Tafuto, we kind of said, is likely to take that qualification spot, but we really overlooked Viola. Why?
Yeah. Why? I think because we haven't necessarily seen her perform to that level in a while now. She's been around the sport for a long time. Like, she's always been strong. She's always been there or thereabouts, ever present in the elite. So like, you can never like overlook her really. But to get that spot, I didn't see today after her performances in Chicago, in Stockholm. I do know like she puts in a lot of training. She's a very high volume athlete. So when it all can come together and you're putting in that sort of work, then the race can come.
I absolutely adore how shocked she was from that. But we will park the women's race. It's been phenomenal. We've loved it. Congratulations to everyone who we'll be seeing in Nice. But let's turn our attention to the men, because the excitement's about to begin. We have a hometown hero. We have no Hunter McIntyre. And we have got about 58 minutes or less of race action. What gets you so excited about this one?
What I was saying earlier, I think it's one of the strongest fields we've ever seen in this sport. Obviously, Hunter's not here, Ryland Shadeg's not here, but the rest of the field, so strong, and very, very little separating them as well. Especially, we've got Alex and Ryan qualify for the World Championships, but those other guys that are chasing a spot at the World Championships, barely anything separates them in their PB times.
Yeah, Michael Sandbag there, and Bo Wills also qualified. But I want to go back to James Kelly. He has to be probably the favourite, I'm saying that with a real tone of voice, to take a qualifying spot today.
Yeah, I'd say he's one of my favourites for today to get that qualifying spot. And that's just based on his consistency and his recent performances. 8th at the World Championships after being called in at the last minute. 6th in Chicago, 5th in Stockholm. So it feels like today could be like the next step for him, yeah.
Now, this is the European Championships, and we've got 2 Europeans almost with completely different trajectories into the race. Pelea Fernandez, absolutely been like the star of the show this season, came from nowhere on rollback, and is now a viable option to secure a ticket here. And you've also got Tobias Lautvine, who we haven't seen all season because he's been dealing with illness and family. and he is back in Vienna, and we are excited because of that wonderful display he gave us at World Champs and prior.
Yeah. Both on different trajectories, if you like. Endurance athletes. You've got like Toby, he's been around the sport for a long time, very consistent performer. He's got a PB there of 56.52 compared to Pelayo's 57.31. Like I said, both endurance-based athletes, not necessarily strength-based. So Toby's like burpee broad jump is where he's very, very strong. He's like got a 2:01 on the burpee broad jump, which is just an incredible time. And Pelayo's 3:15 is by no means like too shoddy. Sled pull is where Pelayo has previously struggled. When he first came into the sport, he came from like an Ironman background, so had the engine but didn't have the strength and really struggled on things like the sled pull. But over his time in maybe like the past year, you can see his strength has built up, and like his times are very, very good. And now he's a men's doubles world record holder. He's got the world record in the men's relay. Yeah, he's really on form.
So from Spain to Germany, now to Austria, and we have Alexander Rončević, hometown hero, and arguably the favourite here. How much extra pressure is he under, though, whether that's externally or internally?
There's pressure, but I think it's internal. I think he'll thrive on it. He's raced here 3 times before, and he's won 3 times. Like, not in a race of this magnitude, but he wants this one. I remember speaking to him a long, long time ago, and he was already talking about this race. Immediately after the Stockholm race, he was immediately talking about this race. He's got his friends, his family here. He got an incredible time in Stockholm that nearly broke the previous world record. So, yeah, he wants this.
Very quickly, Ryan Kent. This means something else for him today.
Yeah. His father sadly passed away a few weeks ago, so it's like an emotional time for him. He done really well in Chicago. We know he's got the ability to do incredibly well here, and there's a lot of emotion involved for this today as well for him. Yeah.
And of course, he did so well in Chicago. There's expectation as well.
Yeah, there absolutely is. And, he looks so strong. He dominated that strong field there. He wants to make a statement. He wants Hunter to make him think about, the world title's not all his. He's not going to have it all his own way. So I think he thinks he can do very well. And it sounds like he thinks he's in a good spot.
So that's Ryan Kent. Let's hear from Alexander Rončević. Quickly tell him that they've got to go straight to walk on now. Sorry? They've got.
Day for the win.
I hope so. I'm gonna show like my crowd all the best of me, and I'm gonna try to win for them, for me, get my first major win. It's very important, and more important is to defend my title, the European champion.
You're getting better from race to race. You're getting faster from station to station. The obvious question with the home crowd in the back now, like supporting you, is it going to be a world record race? All right, here we are.
I mean, the course is not slow. It looks very fast, short laps. It's very oval, like rounded up, not very edgy. The run's going to be fast. If the sleds are nice to me, it's going to be a very good time, yeah.
Awesome, Alex. Good luck. Let's get you on the grid. Looking forward to seeing your race.
Thank you very much. See you.
So a man who seems very calm and collected. We're going to head straight on back up to Till as the athletes get ready to walk on for their Elite 15 race here in Vienna. Till, over to you.
Next up, we've got John Wynn.
All right, here we are live back. The man who won the first race already. That is Greg. He's up here with me already as we see Luca Storad already making his entrance. He is back. The man is out of HYROX Elite retirement and racing here. Joffrey was one of the athletes who said, he's going to take a step back. He's not going to race, and hey, here he is. And he is ready to race. And then, of course, Thomas Dudik. He was fantastic as a pro. He's now racing Elite. He's leaving his mark here. And Tim Venish just coming through. He was one of the fastest men we ever had. An absolute powerhouse and force in HYROX, but then plagued by injury. And Stockholm still wasn't his comeback the way he wanted it. So he's trying to prove a point here without a doubt. Tobias Laudwein, you talked about him. We haven't seen him race so far in the majors this season, so he's going to be a surprise, but he is always somebody to be reckoned with. We had Alex Ronkovic come through, Pelayo Menendez Fernandez, the former triathlete from Spain, one of the strongest runners in the field. James Kelly, what a fantastic race in Stockholm yet, and now just coming through, Michael Sandbag, and of course, Bo Wills. Bo Wills, the man who does my head in. It's like he used to do this for fun on the side, and you know, he just keeps getting better and better and better after every race. It's going to be so exciting to see the man race now after this absolute highlight in the women's race already. Greg, I know it's too early to say who's going to make it, but there's no Hunter. No. Like, who's going to, you know, like take the throne here in Vienna?
Well, for me, it's between two guys. Right? It's Alex Ronkovic and Ryan Kent. They're the two standout most likely, and to some extent they've lived in the shadow of Hunter in HYROX. Like, unbelievable performance, and they've both beaten him. It's worth saying they've both got incredible times. Like that time that Alex got in Stockholm, 54:13, I think it was. Like, we'd be raving about that if it hadn't been for Hunter beating it.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
So I think it's between those two. If you want me to call it.
I don't want you to call it.
Okay.
It's too early. It's too early. Okay, call it. Tell me.
I think in his hometown with the home support, he wants this one. I think it's going to be Alex.
All right, you putting your money on Alex. And of course, hey, we've got the same scenario, the same setup that we've had in the women's race already, right? So obviously we've got 3 spots for the World Championship. We've got amazing athletes at the start line. We've got world champions, record holders, everything here. Well, we don't have Hunter here, not the current record holder, but the best of the best showing up for the race here today. And again, the spots roll down maximum to 5th spot.
Yeah.
So there is a chance that nobody's going today.
There's 4 have already qualified in this race.
Oh, we've got 4.
Yeah. So there's at least one person will gain their spot today.
All right, you see him nicely lined up. Other than Lucas Dorat, everybody's still got their T-shirt on. Not for long, I can guarantee you that. I think Hunter's one of those athletes who always starts with one to look proper at the start, and then like first down, off we go. T-shirt gone. Ladies and gents, here we go. The race is on. The Men's Elite, the European Championship in the men's category, and here we go with Michael Sandbag sprinting out of the gates. Tobias Lautwein trying to stay with Lucas Dorat. We talked about it, the man without a shirt. He is back. Alex Ronkovic, he's gotten rid of his shirt already before the first turn, trying to stay on the heels here of Michael Sandbag. Tobias Lautwein, he is there. And Tobias Lautwein, you know, he's like the anti-hero hero. He is so calm, he's so quiet. You know, he's got the, I'm going to take so much flack for that, but he's got like the demeanor of a math teacher out there. You know, he's not showing off, none of that stuff. And he always eases into the race, and then he's coming like towards the back end of the race. He's there.
Yeah. He's not someone we're going to see charge out in this first run and lead from the start. And we're always potentially like not notice him until the latter half, and then he'll just come through the pack. Very, very experienced racer. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to pace a race. Now, I think it's fair to say we've not seen him in the majors so far this season, but we have seen him in some pro races, and he's not performed to what we might expect. And I think, you know, he's got 4 kids to look after and a busy family life, so he's not necessarily been able to train as much as he'd want. But yeah, and Alex and Sandy have gone out very, very strong here.
They've gone out very strong. One hasn't. Here we go. We look at the replay. There's been a little bit of a tumble in the back there. I'm not sure. It might have been Voisin, actually, our Frenchman.
Or was it Pelayo? Not sure.
A little fumble there in the back. But, okay, this is ridiculous what we're seeing here right now with Ronkovic and Sandbag. The pace they're pushing right now, you've got strong runners like, you know, Tobias Lautwein behind them, like Pelayo running behind them, like Tim Vienisch running behind. All super strong runners, but it's like they're gone.
Yeah. And I thought Alex might do this. I thought he might, you know, he's got his World Championship qualifying spot tied up. He wants to go out, he wants to get a good time, he wants to make a statement. So I thought he might do this. I thought he might try and stretch Ryan Kent, try and draw him in. Ryan Kent's like I feel like he's matured a little in recent years in his racing. He's not necessarily going to chase him, but he also want this gap to become too much. Now the other person here is Sandy, also got his World Championship qualifying spot, so also can afford to push himself. Also knows that the latter stages of the race aren't his strong points. He's performed reasonably well in Stockholm, but he's not as strong as some of these other guys, so he needs a lead going into the lunges and wall balls.
Are you just dissing Sandy's wall balls? For good reason. But I gotta say, making fun of his wall balls, is something he's working on so much, and he is one of the most exciting athletes for me in HYROX over the last couple of years, because he is the proof that there is so much more to not just HYROX racing, but to professional sports and to racing out there than just the physical aspect. He was, how do I put this nicely? He was one of the more mentally unreliable athletes in a race. If it didn't go his way in the early stages of the race, he was out. His mind played tricks on him, he was done. And he got that under control pretty well, and that has made him so much more of a strong athlete.
Yeah. We've seen him leave races. We've seen him leave a race at the Burpee broad jumps when he was winning it very substantially. We've seen him leave a race at the wall balls. We've seen him struggle at the wall balls. Now, to be fair, he put a lot of that behind him in Stockholm. He's qualified for the World Championships, did solidly, I would say, at the wall balls and the lunges, but he's still not one of the strongest on those stations in the race. So he's going to, if he wants to win, if he wants to do well, he's going to want a lead, and he has to push the early stages.
But he's one of those athletes who has that potential to do that. And you see how well it works. If they got the chance, if they take the time out to focus on something specific, then you've got the effect that we saw with Viola Oberländer in the race just now. She knew with how the sport changed over the last couple of years, she needed to work on a run. So she did work on the run, and it made all the difference today, because you don't just get faster, but you also save energy for the workouts. And so he will take his time, especially gearing up towards the World Championship, to work on things. And you said it, he's qualified in Stockholm, so he's got this beautiful position that he's in right now where he can try things out. He can work out, he can try individual things and then rock up at a race and see if it worked or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Worth saying as well, I was talking about my two favourites for this race, Alex and Ryan Kent. Alex ran a 3:04 for that opening run, unbelievably quick time. Ryan Kent was 3:13, so 9 seconds. It's a reasonable gap at that stage of the race. Now, obviously, very, very early on, but 9 seconds is a reasonable gap.
3:04. I want to compare the run times they have later on with the ones we saw from Lauren, and just see how big of a gap there's going to be between the fastest and the slowest run lap. Because 3:04, that's ridiculously fast.
Yeah.
And something we saw from Lauren today in the race was she started off a little more conservative than she did before, and then just found a groove and stuck with it. 1:46, the time we're seeing here by Pelayo right now at the ski erg.
Worth saying that's a good ski pace from Pelayo there. He's one of the lighter athletes in this race. He's not the strongest by any means. It's his running that is his strong point. So to be pulling a 1:56 on the ski, he's going pretty well there.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you were actually right. It might have been him who had that slight tumble at the start, and that gets you out of your rhythm while the front is absolutely flying. So he has some catching up to do.
Worth saying, we've seen Michaela Norman back at the North American Championships last season take a tumble similarly and go on to win the race. So a tumble isn't a race ender by any means.
So just a little bit of a head start here for Alexander Rankovic. He is in the final 100 meters off that ski erg, and he's about 50 meters ahead of Michael Sandbag. So he should be leaving the station just an inch before Michael Sandbag, just a couple of seconds, and Sandy's going to do whatever he can to close that gap as quickly as possible. It's a mere 2 seconds or something, and they are going the wrong way, and they're turning around again.
They've both gone the wrong way. Turn around. Alex has got lost. Oh, he's lost a lot of time there. Oh no.
I am very confused right now at what happened. You can see that Faisal's face we saw there in the left-hand corner. I've rarely seen anything like this before. In all fairness, the setup has changed a little bit,
Not too much, but this should not happen.
No, especially on the ski. Like it's normally fairly straightforward where you go in and where you go out. And it looked like Alex started to go the right way, and then for some reason turned around, and then went way out the way and lost, I don't know, 10 seconds there maybe.
He lost some serious time on Sandbag, who turned around as well for a second there, but he realized his fault a little faster. And I think we're going to take another look at it. So this is what happened. He runs out, and I don't know what happens then. What made him turn around? Sandy follows him and then goes like, hold on a second, no. And here we go. I mean, it's nice for the gallery, you know. They get a close look. Tobias Loudwine, he took advantage of the whole situation and was with him right there on the way out. Lucas Storrat coming through as well.
So, leaving that skier, when they eventually left the station, it was Michael in the lead, Tim Bennett just a second behind, and then Alex was 6 seconds behind Michael, and then Ryan Kent was just a second behind Alex there. So it hasn't completely ruined Alex's race by any means, but he'd have been in the leaving that station if it hadn't been for that.
Well, I think the biggest advantage right now really is for Ryan Kent, for example, for Lucas Storrat, Paulo Fernandez Pelayo, sorry. You know, they hugely benefited off that little mistake.
Question now is what do you do with that? Do you let it affect your mind? Do you let it ruin your race, or do you let it like fire you up and drive you on? Alex is a very experienced racer. He's been in this race for years, so he's not the type that's going to let it affect him, I don't think. But I think it could do for some athletes.
It could do for some athletes, and I don't think he can let it entirely go. Like when things don't go entirely right, he's one of those athletes. We'll have a chat about it, you know, after he crosses the finish line. So he does carry it a little bit with him. The big question now is, can he turn it into a fire, you know, or is it just going to slow him down? If he turns it into a fire, he needs to control that fire. He can't go too hard, but looking at what he's doing right now, he's sticking to his pace on the run. He's not overdoing it, trying to catch up back to Sandy. He's gone through Tim Venish right now, and Tobias Loudwine is doing Tobias Loudwine things. He just moved into third. He just went past Pelayo, past Tim Venish, moved into third, you know, very quietly, but a mere 3 seconds behind Alex and about 6 seconds behind Sandy.
Yeah. And a couple of athletes you've just mentioned there probably had question marks coming over their head coming into the race, like Tim in second leaving the ski station. He's struggled with injuries so far this season. There was a question mark over, you know, how much it's affected him. Has he been able to train as well as he'd want? Well, I mean, I know we're early in the race, but he's come out strongly on the first run on the skier. And then you mentioned Tobias, like we talked about, he comes into his own in the later half of the race. To be at third at this point, again, when he's not necessarily performed as well as you might expect this season, it will be encouraging for him.
Oh, absolutely. And now we got Michael Sandbag coming into the workout station. Pelayo's gone past Tobias. He is closing in on Alex Rankovic. Very close together. I mean, with that little mishap that we've seen from Alex, I think that was a motivational boost for the guys behind as well. All right, now it is coming down to that sled push here. Who's got the legs? Michael Sandbag is looking really, really strong right now.
They are looking strong, but the first two guys here, Michael and Alex, the sled is a strong station for them. What's really interesting is Pelayo. Pelayo's coming in third. This isn't necessarily one of his strongest stations, the sled push. If he can get through this relatively unscathed, if he can get through this in still being, you know, third, fourth, even fifth spot, that's going to encourage him for the rest of the race, because he's one of those ones chasing that World Championship qualifying spot.
And, you know, since we're looking at it, I'm going to correct myself a little bit. My mistake, it wasn't Tobias who ran into third. I got mistaken because of the headband, that usually the sweatband that's only him wearing. But I think Ryan Kent is wearing one as well.
Yeah.
So obviously that was Ryan. Tobias is a little bit behind, not too far.
So this is a strong station for Ryan Kent, and he's doing well here. So he's overtaken Pelayo on the sled push. I mean, he's only a few feet ahead at the moment, but he's gone past him here.
And I know we're only at the second workout, but something that does surprise me a little bit is see Bo Wiltz right now in 13th at the workout here. You know, he progressively gets better throughout the race as well, but I didn't expect him to be this far behind.
No, Bo surprised a lot of us in Stockholm with his performance. Like he's always been a strong athlete, but to get third in Stockholm was a surprise to me at least. One thing he has pointed out to me is he's never been passed by anyone in the second half of a race. So lunges, wall balls, he's one of the ones that can do wall balls unbroken. He's never been passed at that stage of the race, so he certainly wouldn't want to be back in 13th. He looks like he's struggling a little on the sled push at the moment, but he does have a very strong second half to him.
And I literally think Michael Sandbag was just waiting a second for Alex Drankovic, because he knows exactly together they're going to run a lot faster. So he's not gunning out there right now. He keeps turning around a little bit. He was very playful with the cameras. Michael Sandbag is definitely in this race, and I think he's very, very confident in his workout ability right now.
Yeah. So Michael's coming off of a men's pro doubles world record in Manchester just 2 weeks ago, which he ran with Hunter. I suspect that running with Hunter isn't easy. I suspect like you almost reframe what you're capable of in a race, like the level of intensity he must have gone through. I think that kind of thing, even though like obviously it's fatiguing, I think mentally it can only benefit you to do that type of achievement. Yeah.
Well, if you pull it off.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen examples in the world of sport where it backfired. If you look at mountain biking, you look at an exceptional talent like Nino Schurter, and everybody who tries to race Cape Epic, which is one of the most, if not the most recognized stage race in the world, everybody who tries to race with him kind of like doesn't recover from that. You know, so this can happen as well. So it was great to see that Michael managed with Hunter to really pull off that world record, and it seems to have given him so much extra motivation. Not that he's really lacking any, he's matured a lot over the last couple of years. He was fantastic in the finish line interview in Stockholm. Very laid back, and I think as the sport grows, he's somebody to watch, because the one thing he's really good at is those slight jabs, you know, like just towards the competition. Like kind of friendly, but undermining their ability. So it was fun to see in Stockholm after this fantastic race that he had to say like, oh, you know, I don't get it why everybody trains all the way through winter. I just take it easy, you know. You got to have some time with the family and have a good time and so on. Like, all right, I hear you.
So leaving the sled push, Sandy was in first. Alex just 3 seconds behind him. Brian Kent 25 seconds behind Sandy. Then it was Tim Venich, 6 seconds behind Ryan Kent, and then it's Thomas de Verdict, just 3 seconds behind Tim. And then the 2019 HYROX World Champion Lucas Storup was just a few seconds behind Thomas. I touched on Pelayo as well on the sled push. You know, it's not necessarily one of his strong stations, but he's come out in 7th. He's only 37 seconds behind Sandy. He's not really racing Sandy today, or Alex, or even Ryan Kent, who've all qualified for the World Championships. He wants that, you know, he wants that first qualifying spot. So he'd be looking at Tim in full spot here, and he's only 6 seconds behind him. So to come out that sled push in that sort of shape, I think that would be encouraging for him.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. Then again, you know, Tim, the sleds aren't his strong suit. No. So he is still in a good position, but then again, you know, we've seen it in Stockholm, and Lucas has gone through Tim on the run course. He's dropped him. We see him in the picture right now. He lost a good solid 7-8 seconds on Lucas here already. So he's got to keep it together, and you know, Stockholm for sure was a disappointment for Tim, without a doubt. He's looking for a better result here today, as we've got our leading man coming into the next workout, into the sled pull. So fingers crossed they find the way. Too soon? All right, and as they're coming in, we've got Lauren right in the middle of the action. Lauren, take us through what's happening.
Oh, guys, I am indeed. We have Rončević and Michael Sandbag working hard at these sleds, pretty much neck and neck. But actually, I feel like the surprise in this kind of top 6 at the moment is Lucas Storath. Now, I spoke to him earlier in the week, and he was telling me that for the last couple of years, his focus has just not been on HYROX. But the last 4 months has changed everything. He was really like narrowing down on Köln, but he pivoted when he found out how fast he actually was in Maastricht. So this is now of top priority. He's just come into the sled pools in top 5, which is a really exciting launch pad for the 2019 world champion.
Oh, absolutely. We can see him from up here, but then, you know, you're down there right now with the guys in the lead with as well. Michael Sandbag giving it absolutely everything. Alex trying to stay with him. It is too early to predict, but can you see their faces? Is there anybody who's looking like he's got a little more willpower right now?
Willpower is an interesting thing. I think Paleo is doing a fantastic job. He's making up ground on the run, but these strength assets, like he openly admits, is not like the biggest things in his wheelhouse. His triathlete background doesn't really lend itself to sled pulls. So right now I think his mentality is going to, especially given Sandy, Alex and Kent are all qualified, see him through to that world championship spot in this category.
So very exciting race, you can see it here, and well, I'm sure we're going to get more updates from Lauren as the race continues. But she pointed out Lucas Storath, the 2019 world champion, who is looking really strong right now. He came into the workout in a potential qualification spot, and you can see the flags, you can see the fans in the background. We've got the Spanish flag there for Pelayo.
Worth saying, we just touched on 2019 world champion was Lucas Storath. Second in that race was Alex Rončević. So, you know, we're nearly 5 years on from that race. All the people that have come into this sport, how much it's grown, and these two are still 2 of the top 2 in the sport. Unbelievable.
You see, it's been that long. I thought I spotted like a grey hair or 2 on Lucas earlier today as he was warming up, but that explains it. 2019, it's been a couple of years for that man in the sport, and he is back with a bang. It is fantastic to see him racing again. We see Tobias Laudwein as well. Let's see how he's going on today. Not the start of the season he was hoping for, but you know, he's somebody who is so smart in building up his strength and everything. As we've got Michael out of the workout station, there's no waiting around for Alex now. Alex lost a little bit of time on the sled pull. The gap now about 150 meters on the run course almost already. And let's see who's going out in third. We got Ryan Kent there. We've got Pelayo. We've got Lucas Storath, who just turned around now. He's losing a little bit of time on the other 2 here, but still looking really strong. Tim Vinish giving it absolutely everything there as well.
Huge cheer for there for Alex leaving the station as well. That must be really, really encouraging for her. When you're struggling in a HYROX, like you need that support.
It's the home crowd for Alex, and then we got Ryan Kent coming out in third. And Tim Vinish, he's feeling it. Check it out. He's cheering on the crowds. He made up some serious spots. He knows this is about the qualification. This is about the World Championship. And this workout went well for the man who I just said isn't great at the sleds.
Yeah, and they've just come past us. They're moving quicker, those two, than the leaders were. Then Sandy and Alex came out of that sled pull stations. They're feeling good. They're through the sleds. They're like, yeah, that's off our back now. Let's get on with this race.
Oh, completely. And sneaky Tobias Laudwein, he's gone past Lucas Storath now towards the end of the workout. So he is out on the run course as well. And here we go, the times. We've got Mike Sandbag 12 seconds ahead of Alex Rončević, and then Ryan Kent 41 seconds down, but then it's all super close together. I mean, if you look at it, there is 20 seconds between 4th and 8th right now.
And that's the race for the World Championships right there. That's the race for the spot that they're all looking for. And really, there's 2 spots as it stands, unless Bo Wills can like climb that leaderboard a little, because he's already got a spot as well. But yeah, as it would stand, then 4th and 5th would gain a spot, and that's, yeah, like you said, really close for that at the moment.
And one athlete I want to watch closely, I want to hear more about from Lauren probably when they come into the next workout, is Tim Vienna. I've never seen him in a race like this. You know, you can literally feel the pressure that he had after Stockholm, after that disappointment. He left the workout station and he was so ecstatic about the performance that he cheered on the crowds, and then he was flexing in between, and then he cheered on another line of crowd out there midway through the race. He's really feeling it today.
Yeah, he's feeling it. You're not doing that if you're not if you're not quite on it. He knows he's in a good spot. His injury is obviously like not affected him. He's feeling good. So it'd be interesting to see how much he can push there.
I think somebody on the course just needs to tell him, listen up, you still got 5 workouts to go, okay? Don't get too motivated here. If you're feeling that good, you risk overdoing it a little bit. And Alex Rankovic in the picture right now. He's trying to chase Michael Sandbag. And, you know, we don't know if Michael is just this strong today, or maybe that mistake that Alex made at the ski erg, leaving the ski erg, you know, just pulled like a couple % from his performance. We'll find out later on. Such a professional athlete. And we just go back to Lauren as we've got our final athlete leaving the sled pull.
Guys, yeah, you've actually kind of stolen my thunder somewhat. Jonathan Wynn is having a torrid time out there. He's just left the sled pull to the crowd's incredible support. That's one of the best things about being here on a Friday night in Vienna. But he has suffered some absolutely horrendous illnesses over the past couple of weeks. I caught up with him in warm-up and I was like, you know, John, how do you think it's going to go today? And he just looked at me and shook his head as if to say, I'm not even sure if I can make it round. So all of our love and best wishes to John, and he's proving himself an absolute warrior, because about 2 minutes ago, I thought he was going to withdraw.
And, you know, there's been so much speculation about him or around him. He had such a fantastic race in Stockholm, and then it got really quiet, and some people were like, it's got quiet because he's now secretly training and everything. But he had those illnesses, but he's gotten it out. You know, that is part of the Elite 15 racing as well. We've seen it in the women's race, how important it is for them. I mean, like, how do you pass out and then insist to finish the race? No, that's just spectacular. But look at what we're seeing here right now at the Burpees. Alex is back. You know, he closed the gap on the run course on Michael. So it looks like it was a better run now for Alex again, and he's right there with Michael Sandbag right now at the Burpees. And what a jump. Well played, absolutely well played, that long jump, not to get another burpee in between here. And if he can go past Michael Sandbag here now, that's a psychological advantage for Alex Rankovic, because let's not forget, he is the home crowd favorite. You know, he's the local here. He's got Vienna behind him. A lot of folks have come out here tonight to support him along the course. You can see him when you got the white shot. The exhibition hall is filled with spectators on the grandstands and along the grid. And almost, I want to say almost everybody is here for Alex.
Yeah, he clawed back 8 seconds on that last run alone there. And they came in, you know, reasonably level. Michael was just slightly ahead. But Alex has just past him really here. He's looking good. He's got a lot of spring in those jumps there. I mean, to be fair, they're both looking good. Sandy doesn't look like he's struggling at all. But that last run will have encouraged Alex to pull back 8 seconds on a run. Will have encouraged him, and knowing that he's got strong wall balls and lunges at the end of the race behind him as well.
But look at that ridiculous duel, you know, behind them. We got Palau, who's just a little bit ahead, but then we got Tobias Laudlein. Lucas Stewart is just closing in. We got Tim Vienna in there as well. I think we got Thomas Turdig in the mix as well. Everybody's just shoulder to shoulder. Ryan Kent is there. They caught back up to Ryan Kent. It is a really close duel right now towards the halfway mark here in this major race in Vienna, on the way towards the qualification for the World Championship.
Palaio's looking really good here. Coming in third, he was 48 seconds behind Sandy, but he's looking good on these burpee broad jumps as well. Like we touched on before, he's an endurance-based guy, got a good engine,
And listen to the crowds and look at Alex Jankovic. He knows this was fantastic. This is the boost he needed. And look at the crowds. I'm telling you right now, I'm falling in love with Vienna all over again. It's always been a fantastic city. But when we started HYROX here, it was the crowd were the calmer ones, you know, on the tour, I want to say. There was a little more that came out for the one athlete and nobody else. And now it's just the last 2 years, this has become one of my favorite races when it comes to spectator atmosphere. Absolutely fantastic in here. And of course, what a day for Alex. What a workout for Alex at the burpees. You know, catch him back up to Michael Sandbag on the run and then cheered on by the crowds. And look at that. It's a proper gap now. It's 50 meters. It's 60 meters that he opened up on Michael Sandbag. Now back out onto the run course. And he's got the stronger wall balls between the two of them.
Yeah, and lunges. He's got a 2:42 he just did on the burpee broad jumps there, which is an incredible time, over 80 meters of burpee broad jumps. On the grid as well, where there's more turning than you normally would in a day-to-day race, 2:42, very, very impressive.
And let's look at it again, how he overtook Michael Sandbag at the burpees. Here he comes. You know, he had that very smart move at the end of the first row by really jumping forward to make sure he turns around at the same time as Michael, and then he just pushed ahead. And he just had a little more energy towards the end there on the final jumps, opening up that gap that he needed on Michael Sandbag. Here we go. And another one. That was the moment he passed through. They went another 2 rounds that gave him a chance to open up a little more. And he's pushing hard on that run right now. He is going to make that turn just as Michael Sandbag is coming around the other turn all the way in the back. Oh, not even he's making the turn. Michael Sandbag can't see him anymore. What an excitement. And Lauren is down in the middle of it. Lauren, what is happening?
I'm still at the burpee broad jumps, and it might not have come across your radar, but Ryan Kent there was suffering with some lower back issues. He had to stop at the top end of the course and stretch out before going again. He's dropped back maybe about 4 places.
Oh, some drama around Ryan Kent, who looked so good, you know, all the way coming here, but that is part of the racing when you need to push to the absolute maximum. But Lauren, let's talk about that duel in the front. What a fantastic move. And you were right there. You were standing right there as you saw Alex coming through. You were in the middle of the spectators. Just take us through that moment.
Like behind Sandy was daggers in his eyes. He was really unhappy about it. When he was in front of Sandy, he was geeing up the crowd and giving them a little bit of something to cheer for. And you can tell it really motivated his running as well. It's actually one of the nicest moments so far down here on the floor.
And it's ridiculous. We're just looking at the pictures right now. He is on the run course. He's pulling away from Sandy, and he's greeting people. He's literally responding to individuals' cheers out there. He is smiling. He is having the time of his life. He just waved at somebody in the grid area.
I think I saw him fist bump someone. He was talking to people. He's waving. He's smiling. He's feeling very, very good to come. This is that I was talking about earlier. The run after the burpee broad jumps is disgusting. It feels so hard. Your heart rate's jacked. I'm not smiling like this. I'll tell you that when I do 80 minutes of burpee.
I really don't. I mean, then again, I also never find myself in the front of a race, so I don't know what that feels like. But yeah, this is wild. And I mean, how do you go from taking the wrong or wanting to take the wrong exit out of the ski erg to just flying along the course and smiling and celebrating and waving at people and still not knowing where you're going but not caring? Here he comes on the way towards the next workout. He's almost too distracted to find the row and erg. So this is just opposite of the ski erg right now. Let's see if he figured out the way to get out of it by now. Oh, his row and erg doesn't work.
Not working.
Oh, this is terrible. Oh, no, what's happening?
What's he doing? Where's he going?
Oh, how is this possible? The erg is not working that he's on. Nobody's coming to the rescue. Then none of the ergs are working.
None of them are working. Michael's not on one either.
Oh. The energy is down. Somebody's got to make a call here. You got to skip that workout. I reckon that's what's going to happen. They're going to send them back out on the course.
Michael's jumping on one, Alex is jumping on one. Have they got them working?
Now, this is one of the wildest
wow.
HYROX races I've ever seen. You know, I am so excited to see what Alex is.
They've stopped again.
Okay, I can tell you right now, one of the highlights of the day for me is going to be Alex's finish line interview. I am so looking forward to that. So let's see how everything changed from... Oh, I think they've now just switched them to the...
So I suspect these are the rows
for tomorrow's
yes. races. I suspect what's happened is they've connected them up to computers so we can see the meterage and everything that they're on, but they've gone to use tomorrow's rows.
Hey, this is, you know, it's a box full of chocolate.
It was only a minute ago we were talking about Alex was smiling.
And here Sandy is done. He's like, this is it, I'm out.
Oh no. And this is, I mean, we've talked about Sandy coming out of races before, you know, it looks like his head's gone.
His head has gone 100%. I don't see Alex quitting in front of the home crowds here. You know, he's going to keep going. It's going to be hard for him to find the motivation. But, hey, you know, these things do happen. They shouldn't, no doubt. But apparently there was an electricity failure in the entire row.
Wow.
That is just bad luck. Esther coming through. Everything worked flawlessly as we had the women coming in. But you see Alex still going a 143, 144 pace here. So he is going to push through. And it's a shame to see Michael Sandbag out there or to quit the race. But, you know, we talked about it earlier. If he's frustrated, he can't really control it.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's like, obviously that shouldn't have happened with the road, but what this has done, Michael pulling out, has opened up another potential spot for someone to claim a spot at the World Champs. So top three, like just to reiterate, top three get a spot. Alex has already got one, so it could be potentially 2, 3 and 4 could get a spot at the World Championships today.
That is right. All right, so and now everything has changed a little bit, right? There needs to be new instructions and everything. So the way out of the rock zone now is going to be slightly different. I hope they get everything there. But you see Alex is smiling again because he's got friends and family out there and they're shouting at him. And I think it's somewhere between disbelief and just still enjoying the home crowds here.
And he's pulling a good speed, you know, 143, 144, 145 per 5, 147 he's dropped to now, but that's still a solid pace that he's pulling on that road.
You know, a solid answer to this would be to post a world record.
Doing that after like, messing up at the ergs on the ski, on the row, yeah.
This exhibition center is going to get a new name here in Vienna if that happens. It's going to be the Alex Rankovic Exhibition Center Vienna. All right, let's look at the race here. Alex Rankovic, we still expect him to get off the erg first, and then we got Pelayo and everything. Of course, a little bit of a big advantage of the guys coming from behind because they didn't have, you know, the same situation where the situation had to be resolved. Quick response, you got to say, from the crew, quick acting in the situation here. So it's great to have the race still happening here. And we're sending Alex Rankovic back onto the run lap in a moment. And you said it, you know, it opens up another opportunity to qualify for the World Championship.
Yeah, so who we got sitting there? We got Pelayo is in second spot. So there's Alex leaving. Big cheer for him leaving.
So now, sorry to interrupt you. So now, I don't know if you were just looking at the run course. Michael Sandbag is on the run course. So he just decided to, you know, make his own rules. He's like, I'm rowing 50 meters today. I'm back running.
He's looking for that original row he wanted.
Yeah. This is going to be exciting to see.
So yeah, there's Pelayo who's left there in second, and Thomas de Verdict is left in third. So Thomas really gained his spot in Maastricht 3 weeks ago with a very, very impressive time. So he's clearly got like good fitness on him at the moment. Last saw him though in an elite race back in Las Vegas in 2022 when he finished in last place in that race. So yeah, we've not seen him in the elite since. But he's in a good place at the moment. He'd be really, really encouraged to be in third spot at this stage.
I feel like this is the kind of race where you want to make sure Alex Ronkovic got a cold, nice brew waiting for him at the finish line. This is like the hand me the beer kind of finish line today. And somebody who was a lot closer to the action of what we just saw was Lauren. Lauren, how's it going down there?
Guys, chaos, I think is the only way to describe it. I mean, nothing that anyone on the floor could have done. The rowers just malfunctioned, every single one of them. So the two lads arrived, sat on rowers, they didn't work, tried other rowers, they didn't work. And actually, to the quick thinking of the ground crew, managed, as you guys rightly said, to pull down the rowers due to be used tomorrow. Now, throughout that, Alexander Ronkovic had about a 200-meter lead once Sandy decided that he had opted out of the row and went straight back on the run. And of course, as you can imagine, the crowd that surrounded Alex was doing absolutely everything in their power to be the extra motivation. And then, obviously, leaving as well is a totally new route. So all of the judges created a route for the athletes to take, make sure everyone was going to the right direction and make sure that everyone got back on pace as quickly as possible. But it is worth noting a few athletes who took advantage of that situation. You'll notice that Graham Halliday has really jumped up the rankings. He was really quick off the rower, and it's definitely benefited, oh, I'm so excited, the Scotsman.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt about it. But you said, you know, it's we see Alex Ronkovic back out and celebrating with the camera again. So he's thoroughly enjoying his race out there, despite everything happening. And you know, it's live sports. It does happen. It is unfortunate it happened at this moment, but the ground crew had a fantastic response to the whole thing. And so we're back into the race here. I'm still a little bit confused about what Michael Sandbag's plan is here right now. But, you know, maybe he doesn't like the erg anyways. So Alex Ronkovic in the lead, celebrating with the crowds here in Vienna, and a lot of shuffling around behind with Palau in second, Thomas Turdick now in third, Lucas Stora moved up, he's in fourth, Tim Venish in fifth, Graham Halliday, Tobias Loudvine. They are still super close together. But Thomas Turdick really, I mean, Lauren just said it, he made his move. He's in third, a mere 3 seconds down on Pelayo right now.
Yeah. Worth just reiterating, you said about how close that is. So between fourth and seventh, there's just 10 seconds separating all those athletes there. So there's very, very close, like shaping up to be a great race at the end of this, because it's just worth reiterating that there will be like second, third and fourth, assuming Alex goes on to win this, second, third and fourth can get a spot at the World Champs.
So very, very close race here. It's different to anything I've ever seen before. I've never seen a race leader celebrate this much on the course. I've never seen an individual athlete have one great workout and then start celebrating with the crowds just because he had an amazing workout in between, like we've seen from Tim. Vienna's different again. It's exciting as we've got Alex Ronkovic at the Farmers Carry right now as we speak, going through his lanes.
Certainly not seen someone celebrate and smile so much when so many things have tried to put a stop to his race.
Yeah, no. All right, Palau, he's doing so well. The man from Spain who just keeps getting better and better. We cannot say anymore that he's surprising us because he's not anymore. It's almost an expectation from him now. Thomas Turdick, he really took advantage of that situation there. He did so incredibly well. Lucas Stora is in fourth. Thomas Turdick in the t-shirt here in the front. And then really close together behind, we got Tobias Loudvine and Graham Halliday coming in. And Tim Venish, he lost a little bit of time again on that run course.
Yeah, only a little though. This Palau's moving. Oh, it's Palau's stop there. I was just about to say this is another one of like the more strength-based stations in HYROX, and Palau's like one of the lighter athletes here. Strength is, not his strong point. So if he wants to get through this, obviously as quickly as possible. He has pulled once, didn't do too well on it in Stockholm, but it looks like he's going okay here.
All right, so we've got a little bit of an update here on what's happened. So Michael Sandbag's disqualified, obviously.
you know, for leaving the workout station, which again was not worth it because the judges looked into the situation, looked at how much time did the athletes lose, and Alex Ronkovic is going to be taking 1 minute and 6 seconds off his finish time today. That's the time he lost until they found him a row in, from the moment he came in. So that's all been adjusted now for Alex Ronkovic. So that's the update out there. I'm pretty sure we're going to try to inform him on the course as well. So it would have been worth for Micah Sandbag to hang in there a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the simple reason is, you know, the reason why Micah Sandbag gets disqualified obviously is because there's been created an alternative. So it's not that he couldn't row and therefore left the rowing station. A rowing erg was made available. He opted not to use it, and then that's the disqualification.
I think they both actually did get on it. I think they both started.
Oh, yeah.
And then he was like, no, I've had enough, and got off of it. And my initial assumption was that rower had gone down as well. But it doesn't look like that was the case because everyone carried on. So it just looked like mentally it'd gone at that point. And it's a shame because he was doing really well. He was in second spot. It was another race where he was looking strong this season. But yeah, you know, the mental side of HYROX is a massive, massive part of it.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, you know, Michael's, he is qualified. Obviously, he doesn't have the same motivation drive as some of the other athletes out there. So I'm not going to judge him for not being in the race anymore. And here we go. The Lio flying along the run course. And of course, we're going to look at the split times in a moment after the Farmers Carry. We are way into that second half of the race at the European Champs here. Our last major, our last Elite 15 race on European soil before we continue in Washington. First weekend of March. That's when we get the next shot here. We're expecting another spectacular field in Washington, D.C. But look at Pelayo absolutely flying, just going through Bo Wills here, who is a lap behind.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's a strong day for Bo after such a like impressive performance in Stockholm. He'd have wanted to come back and shown that like that wasn't a one-off performance, but he's not looking too good at this stage. Yeah, Pelayo's looking really good, really calm running, really strong.
I think he's smiling.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in his element right now. You were talking about the strength and everything. He's got a triathlon background. Not exactly the kind of sport where you train too much strength, especially not grip strength. I can tell you that. You know, it's like, all you got to do is hold on to the handlebars. So the Farmers Carry requiring a lot more grip strength. But yeah, his run is just on point again today. Fantastic to see, see him put out another fantastic performance here in Vienna. As we got Alex Ronkovic coming in, you can hear the noise again. He's celebrating again into the workout station. He is, with everything that's thrown at him, absolutely dominating the race today. 1:37 ahead after the Farmers Carry. Ahead of Pelayo and Thomas Turek, Tobias Lautmann, Lukas Storad. What a fantastic race considering all the mishaps he had so far.
Yeah. Alex is stepping through here. Really big steps, quick steps, looking strong, no pauses, feeling very, very good. This is starting very quick. These are very, very quick lunges.
And it's interesting to see, if you look at Pelayo running, you can see that triathlon, the professional background. He's very much on his toes as he's running. There was a huge craze for a long time with everybody needing to go onto their toes for faster running. You know, that supposedly was the most efficient one. Now we're going a little bit more back towards mid-foot, forefoot kind of running. But you see that old school training in him. But Alex looking spectacular. He's looking so good right now. Thomas Turek coming in now as well. Tobias Lautmann really close. And Lukas Storad, he is right there. Tim Vinish, he lost a little bit of time. He's got to hang on now. But Lukas Storad, what a comeback. He's a 2019 world champion. He is really showing it today.
Yeah. He's in his early 40s, you know, and to come back from 2019, 2020, where he was very, very strong. We've not really seen him for a couple of years much in this sport. and then just like almost popped up 3 weeks ago with like incredibly impressive time, and to show it today in this caliber of field, yeah, very, very encouraging for him, and he's really in the mix here to claim a spot at the World Champs.
You know, and very smart. If you look at the technique from Alex Ronkovic, who's just so consistent at the lunges right now, you see him every once in a while, he's just going to put that foot that he pulls forward down for just a second, and it just relieves the muscles. It just relieves the quads a little bit, and it helps a ton, you know, to just save some energy, make sure you can keep going strong there. This is the second last workout for our athletes. Greg, we are on the way after this towards the wall balls, where the magic's going to happen, where the race is going to be decided, but it is looking incredibly good for Alex Ronkovic right now.
It's looking very, very good for Alex, but it's also looking like there's going to be a real battle at the wall balls for second, third, fourth, fifth, you know, spot. Like those World Championship spots, there's going to be a lot of athletes within seconds of each other battling for those.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Tim Vanish, he's making his move at the lunges right now. He closed that gap back to Tobias Lautmann and Lucas Storad. Thomas Tridick doing super well. He is struggling just a little bit, but he's still ahead of the other guys. He's going to keep that gap. There you can see it, it's half a lane that he's got on them. And Tim Vanish, he is back in the mix. It's gonna come down to the wall balls. And let's remember, the way it looks right now, we're gonna give away the spots to the World Championship to second, third, and fourth, if I'm right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So second, third, and fourth, and like fifth is so close right now, and so is sixth.
Yeah.
They're all so close to each other.
And seventh, I would say. And seventh is Graham Halliday, who has got unbroken wall balls in him.
Oh, unbroken wall balls.
It goes down to seventh where there's an unbroken wall balls guy. So, yeah, it's going to be very, very close.
I can tell you one thing for sure. I do not want to be either of these athletes in a moment at the wall balls, because this is going to hurt, and it's going to come down to who can hurt himself the most.
Yeah. Just before we get into all that excitement at the wall, it's probably worth pointing out, it seems like the Americans are struggling here today. We've barely spoken about Rich Ryan. Ryan Kent looks like he's dropped down the field, like Lauren alluded to. He seemed to be having some back problems.
I mean, that's why we now turn Alex Ronkovic into an American on the screens. He is not. He's our home crowd favorite here in Austria. Sorry to interrupt you.
And David Megida as well. Like, we weren't necessarily. I think David knew he wasn't necessarily at full fitness, at his full potential, because he's been struggling with some back issues for a long time now. But yeah, we've barely spoken about the Americans up to now. So yeah, they're obviously all struggling. Whether that's jet lag or something else playing a part, I don't know.
Okay, and look at that, what just happened at the Sandbag lunges. Tim Vanish really moved up. He actually went past Tvrdik as well. So he moved himself into third position now, behind Pelayo and behind Alex Ronkovic. So very strong position for him right now. Thomas Tvrdik, he's going to close that gap. It's just a few seconds on the run course, I would think. And then Tobias Lautwein, obviously, as well. So Lucas Storad right now is the one who lost the most at the Sandbag lunges.
Yeah, Lucas getting strong at wall balls though. So I mean, Graham looked like he was struggling when he came out of there. Whether he's got whether the gap is too big for him to claw back the time on the other guys ahead of him, obviously remains to be seen. I think the gap might have opened up too much. And there's just James Kelly just leaving the lunges there. I'd fancied him for today. I'd fancied him for one of those top three spots really in this race, but he's not performed so far. Considering he was 6th in Chicago, 5th in Stockholm, he's way down the leaderboard at the moment.
No, actually, we're seeing a lot of surprises in the men's race today. Not necessarily in the front too much. Alex Ronkovic is not a surprise. I mean, Pelayo Menendez there, not too much of a surprise. Tim Vanish, great to see that he is doing so much better than he did in Stockholm. It really looks like he's getting over that period of injuries and illness that he had. Thomas Tvrdik, fantastic race. Tobias Lautwein, he was a little bit of a dark horse for the race here. Still, very close to a potential World Championship slot here. He's just got to make sure that he stays ahead of Thomas Tvrdik or Tim Vanish towards the wall balls here, as I believe we've got our leading man, Alex Ronkovic, on the way towards the wall balls. We're going to hear him in a second. The crowds are going to go absolutely ballistic. The grandstands are full. Here we go. Here he comes. And listen to that, everybody, and look at those pictures. Alex just celebrating in style as he hits the wall balls here. And this is just going to be a joyful display, you know, of enjoying this victory and enjoying those home crowds. I cannot wait to the last 10 wall balls when everybody together in here is going to count down Alex Ronkovic for the win today. But I'm going out. I'm calling it. It's going to be the win. But what happens behind him?
Yeah. So let's see who comes in. Let's see who comes in. I suspect it's going to be Pelayo coming in second, but then we're really looking at third, fourth, fifth, sixth.
This is going to be brutal. This is going to hurt as much as it can possibly hurt for those guys behind. Once again, there's only a handful of possibilities left to qualify for the World Championship, and you gotta do it here if you've got the chance. But we've got 4 or 5 athletes coming in very close together in that hand for the World Championship spot. We got Tim Venish, who is still running in third. He's on the way now towards the workout zone. Thomas Turdick is right behind him, only a few meters. And then we got Tobias Loudwine. He lost a little bit of time. Ryan Kent is still in the mix right behind Tobias Loudwine. But Pelayo, he has arrived at the wall balls as well.
This is still going to be a very, very quick time for Alex. He got in at the wall balls at 50 minutes and 53 there. So if he can pull out an unbroken wall balls at 3.5 minutes, it could be incredibly quick time.
Oh, absolutely. And look at that. Thomas Turdick and Tim Venish, they're coming in. They are the ones right now in the qualification spots. But we'll see up on the screen in the middle now. Here we go. This is the chasers coming in. One of them will be Tobias Loudwine, who's really strong at the wall balls as well.
Yeah. These guys have got, like you said, they've really got to dig deep at this point. It's really going to hurt. But this 3-4 minutes of hurt can completely change the rest of your season.
Oh my word, I do not want to be down there right now. Pelayo, I want to say, he's not the strongest at the wall balls, but he should be safe with the gap that he had on the competition. But you never know at the wall balls, right? How much it's going to pull your plug.
Especially if you go out too hot. Let's say you do 50 unbroken and then you need to pause for a minute. The guys that are more conservative at the start can quickly pass you there. But he did have a 40-second gap coming in here.
And you see a little bit, he does what you see a lot more usually in the age of racing, Pelayo. He always has this tiny jump towards the end, which kills your calves and costs a lot of energy. Whereas Tim Venish and everybody next to him, Thomas and Tobias and so on, Ryan Kent, Lucas Dorrit, they're all standing still. It's all coming from the core and then the upper body.
Toby looks like he's struggling there. That's a long pause that he's had there.
Oh, let's not count out Lucas Dorrit, but Alex Ronkovic, the crowd is counting him down. It's the last few for him. Tim Venish needs to take a break. Alex Ronkovic, he is safe. He's smiling. He's enjoying it. He's going to celebrate taking the win in Vienna.
He's enjoying that.
Not just him. The crowds are enjoying it just as much. But then we see on the split screen, Pelayo taking the next break here. Thomas Turdick taking a break. We want to see what the duel is down there. What a fight. Again, the reminder, the way we look at him right now, 3 out of those we've still left on the screen. We've got Lucas Dorrit. 3 out of those 5 might go to the World Championship. Will go to the World Championship, but who is it going to be?
And they've all paused. They're all struggling.
They're all struggling.
Yeah. It's a long pause from Toby. Lucas is pausing now.
But Tim is having the most controlled pauses I'm seeing right now. He looks very much in control of what he's doing. He's got a calculated 3-second break when he takes it. Just quick recovery for the muscles. I think it's a duel right now for second between Pelayo and Tim with what we're seeing here, which is a really great thing for Tim.
Just keep an eye on Graham Halliday on the left of that screen there.
Yep.
He came in his 7th. You know, he was 50 seconds behind Tim. But I was about to say he can do unbroken wall balls, but he's just paused. So I've cursed him now. But he can certainly claw back time on these guys who are all struggling. Graham can do a quicker time than I suspect some of these guys are going to put in here.
Oh, Tim,
There's
he gave it
Pelayo.
everything. He had to drop it, but it looks like he's really close as well. He had a couple of no reps. There he goes. Tim Vienna coming in 3rd here in Vienna. What a comeback after that race in Stockholm. And look at that excitement. He kind of like felt it. He kind of like knew it when he hit that sled pull and started celebrating with the crowds. He had one of his least favorite workouts out of the way. And there he is, 3rd place on the ground. But he is through. He is going to Nice in the elite. He's qualified. So, but we've got one more.
Got one more.
One more. Who is it going to be?
Looks like it could be Thomas. Thomas, yeah, it's Thomas. He's claimed it.
Ah, Thomas Turdick is taking it. What a fight. The move he made at the rower was just incredible. It was the move he needed to put himself into this position. And look at that, Graham Halliday, he's going to be next. He's passing Tobias Lautmann and Lucas Storan.
Yeah, but just not quite enough for Graham, unfortunately. Just a few seconds behind. Like, I knew he could do well there, but it just left him little too much to do at that point. Look how much they've pushed themselves there. They're really struggling on the finish line there.
What a brutal day and what a brutal way for Tobias Lautmann and Lucas Storan to miss out on that potential world champion spot. But great to see, Megan Jacoby is back on the grid cheering on athletes. So there she is.
That was a 54.28 from Alex there, one of the quickest times like ever, really, in this sport. And
With everything that happened.
Yeah, everything that happened, and like not necessarily, he wasn't in much of a race really. Once Sandy pulled out, he was on his own. He looked smiling, he looked in control. He walked across the line. 54.28 is very, very, very good.
A little sprint finish here between Callie and Storan just now. A little sprint there towards the finish line, with Lucas just having slightly broader shoulders, I want to say. What a race, what an excitement. I'm very much looking forward to seeing your analysis with Lauren in a second down from the grid. But what a day. Thanks so much, Greg. He's headed down to find Lauren, and then we're going to go through everything that happened here. We're going to hear from our top athletes. We're going to hear a little bit about, the surprise action that we saw in the race here for sure. And of course, some of the amazing performances like Tim Vienna, who qualified after a miserable race in Stockholm. He's come back, he's got it together, and he is now through to the World Championship as we're looking at some of our athletes at the wall balls here with Rich Ryan, at the wall balls, getting counted in. Megan Jacoby down there as well. Well, everybody out there, it's been a spectacular day here in Vienna at the Major. Our Elite 15 race, as we're seeing our final athletes in the men's race at the wall balls, getting ready to finish their race here. We had a fantastic race with an incredible new world record in the women's race from Lauren Weeks, bringing it down to 58 minutes and 4 seconds. So close to breaking that magic 58-minute mark and bringing it down to 57. Megan Jacoby, had a little bit of a dip in performance in between halfway through, but then still fantastic performances just over an hour. And we've seen great races, great performances, and qualifications for the World Championship, like Viola from Germany, who made it through. And then in the men's race just now, as we've seen the final athletes come through. A couple of surprises out there. Athletes not performing the way we expected it, but I think Lauren is down at the finish line and might have our first interview guests of the day.
I am indeed. Till, Thomas, your debut major race, and you have come away with qualification to the World Championships. Did you ever expect this when you set foot on that course this morning?
I felt very well. I was just scared that I will get sick or something. So I could stay healthy, and the performance today was good. That I'm fourth. Yeah, it's potato, but I'm super happy that I qualified, and I can make a quality prepare for the World Champs.
How did you manage the chaos that happened out there?
It's really not easy, because you are still on the top of your heart rate, and you are not sure about anything. You know how many laps, which station, nothing. So you're still checking the board, the watches, and yeah, it was really hard.
You ply your trade in the army. How did that pay off out on the floor?
It's definitely a good job to combination with sport. Yeah, because when you are in the army, you have to be fit. So they help me with my preparation and training, and they are very polite to me. So I'm super happy that I can work there.
You did a fab job. Congratulations. We'll see you hopefully at the next one.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Till, back to you guys. I'm going to try and find someone else to collar an interview.
What a legend, I got to say. Thomas Hryrox, first major, straight through to the World Championship, and as he said, it's perfect. It allows for a great preparation for the World Championship race. First weekend of June in Nice at the Côte d'Azur in France. And as Lauren is on the way to find another interview partner, I think a lot of men who got something to say today after this race may it be Alex Rankovic, who had that non-stop celebration with the crowds here in Vienna, or I'm not sure if we're going to see Michael Sandbag in an interview right away here today. But ladies and gents, it was fantastic. It was such a great day of racing here. We've seen another world record. We've seen some of the biggest celebration in the elite races throughout a race, actually, from Tim Wenisch, from Alex Rankovic. We've got, first-time qualifications for the World Championship, and this is what the sport is all about. We saw athletes cheering each other on, and we can, in a moment we're going to talk to Pelayo, I believe, our man from Spain, the former triathlete, who's proven that strength is something you can pull off as an endurance athlete as well, who's had a spectacular performance here today, coming in second. So done really, really well. So he's with Lauren right now. Let's hear from him, and afterwards I'm going to let you know how we continue the season, so stay tuned.
Oh, Till, he's right here with me, and we've been speaking about it for the last couple of days, Pelayo, haven't we? This is the dream. You're living the dream. You just came second and qualified for World Championships.
As I told you, I keep dreaming, I keep living my dream, and I won't keep pushing. I think this is something that is a gift for me. I was not expecting to be in the Lift 15 this season, and I'm here and doing my best. I got second. I knew I was in a good shape. I knew the Stockholm result was not real. I didn't feel good that day, and I had more. And today I showed up, so he showed off. So I think it's a dream come true to me.
You were right on the edge of the chaos halfway around the course. How did you get back into race mode, not let it affect you?
I mean, I'm a person who I'm used to dealing with a lot of problems during the race. I was doing a triathlon for many years. An Ironman race is an 8-hour race. Anything can happen. And what I've learned from there is that whatever happens, there's always time to go back. So I just focused on myself. I just focused on keep pushing. I felt great, and I got a second.
So what's the plan now between now and June? Will we see you in DC? We're going back to America. You're home.
Yeah, my next race is going to be a mixed doubles with my wife. That's my goal, is to qualify for Worlds with Helena. She's here. She is my best support ever, and she has been all day with me, supporting me. Without her, I think I wouldn't be here. So my next dream is qualifying with them for the Worlds in mixed doubles in Miami.
Oh, all the best to the both of you. That sounds great. We'll let you go. Go and enjoy this moment with your family.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Till, back to you.
That was almost a little bit too cute. What a fantastic race for him as well. As we look at the results again from today, Alex Ronkovic, 54-28, despite everything that happened down there, despite the celebration, the crowds just carrying him along the course. Palau, who we just saw, Tim Vienna, what a comeback after Stockholm. He didn't have a great race there, now through to the World Championship. Thomas Trudig, Graham Halliday, just missing out on that World Championship slot. Bo Wiltz, you know, he struggled a little bit in the earlier stages, then Tobias Loudwine, Lucas Storer, James Kelly, Geoffrey Vazin. And the Americans, Greg said it before, David Megida, Ryan Kent, Rich Ryan, not the best races. It might have been the jet lag. We don't know, but looking forward to seeing them again on the on American soil at the major in Washington. And then, of course, Wynn and Michael Sandbag, two of our athletes, not on the board right now. They dropped out of the race before the wall balls. So that's the results for today in our elite men's race here in Vienna. And of course, we want to hear from our winner, who's been smiling and celebrating so much. I cannot wait to hear what he has to say. Lauren with Alex Ronkovic.
We're just stood here and he points up at the board while you were doing the results and went, oh, nice time. It was a nice time, Alex. It was an amazing performance, but a roller coaster ride. Talk me through it.
Yeah, just like from the start, after the ski, I went in the wrong direction because some judges said like, go that way, go that way. I was a bit confused, but I was like really focused on the race. I felt good, even though I did a little mistake. Mistakes happen, even on my level. Yeah, and then just try to keep up with Sandy, go with Sandy, stay with Sandy. Then after the burpees, I managed like to open a bit of a gap into going into the rower. Then the mistake with the rowers, that they weren't like set on zero. And I mean, mistakes happen. It's okay. We all learn from that. And the most important at that point was like to stay calm and wait up what's going to happen. I knew like HYROX will do sometimes with something with the times and try to set it right. And it was just go on another rower, keep it going, finish it. And after the row, it was just enjoying the race, bringing it home in front of my crowd here, family, friends, everybody. I really appreciate it. My biggest goal was like to defend my European title. I did it. I'm really thankful for that. Now I'm looking forward to Nice, to the World Champions, and my main goal is to become a world champion. I have enough like second places and third places, so I'm gonna try everything to beat Hunter there. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.
Do you think it's possible, beat Hunter?
I mean, for sure, everyone in this field is beatable. We saw that, and I know where I can improve. I need to work on my runs. I need to work on the first part of the stations, on the sleds, maybe a bit more. And I have plenty of time now, and I'll do my best, like, to become world champion.
Can't wait to see it happen. Amazing job today. I hope you enjoy everything about this.
I will. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Right, we're going to let him go because prize giving's about to occur. We're going to actually get out of the way, but look who I found. Who's this guy? Hi. Your opinion on whatever we just witnessed.
Taking everything into account, if we just look at the time, and like Alex just said to you, oh wow, what a great time. And it was unbelievable, considering everything that happened. He just ran a 54.28 or 54.18, like one of the fastest times ever, despite like running out the wrong way from the skier and the mix up with the row. He looked so in control, so calm, so happy. I think he certainly had a quicker time in him than that today. And he's just talked to you about like maybe beating a Hunter at the World Championships. I think that's possible. Certainly think that's possible today.
It's such a roller coaster, isn't it, for these athletes? And when thing goes wrong, for someone like Alex, he can fall back on experience. How important was that in the difference between perhaps him and Sandy's reaction?
Yeah, experience, mental resilience. When I've spoke to him before on my podcast, he talked about like he grew up he was a swimmer. He had a really tough swimming coach. Like the mental resilience that he built during those early years, he says like stands him in great stead. So even when he turns up at a race like this and he isn't feeling good, he knows he can dig deep and like pull a performance out the bag. So yeah, when things like this happen, like he almost thrives on it. Whereas like Michael obviously today didn't, you know.
Now, the other most wonderful moment of today in second place, Pelayo Fernandez. I mean, we bigged him up enough throughout the week, I feel. But it puts a lot of pressure on a man. He says he doesn't feel pressure, but actually it's a very different circumstance when you find yourself in second place racing.
Yeah.
How did he handle the kind of the entire scenario that unfolded in front of him.
He handled it very well, and you spoke earlier about how he's here and he just wants to enjoy the sport and like not really like he's previously been in triathlons and wasn't enjoying it, was pushing himself, and he just wants to enjoy this, and you can tell that he is. Like his running looked like, we know he's a good runner, but he looked so calm and composed out on that course, and he looked happy, and I just spoke to him. He just said, yeah, I just felt so good out there, and then and I knew once he got through those sleds, which potentially can be a sticking point for him, I knew he was in contention. Yeah,
I don't think much beats that reaction that we just saw. I mean, you can see he plays it down, but it clearly means the world to him.
Yeah.
What's kind of on the cards for him now? Is he not like literally we know he's running doubles in Miami, but kind of more in terms of his conditioning as he looks ahead to World Championships?
Well, if you look at the trajectory he's on, if he continues that, then he's really in the mix, certainly for the top 3 spot at the World Championships. Because he's come from, a year ago, his times were certainly not good enough to be getting into this type of race, and he's been working on his strength. He's really improved on the stations. If that can continue, and that's obviously not easy to do, but if it can continue, then yeah, he's in the mix.
How easy is it to predict what we might see on a podium when we get to Nice? Not very easy, but could Alex Ronkovic actually do what he set out to do, take on Hunter, take down a world record? In your experience of the sport, is there still time to be eaten here?
Yeah, I think that he's been in the sport for a long time. We spoke on the live stream about how he finished second to Lucas in the 2019 World Championships. So he's been in it for a long time, but he's continued to improve. Even this season, he's pulling PBs out the bag. And so, and to be fair, Hunter's doing the same. It's not like he's stagnating by any means. But Hunter is the #1 in the sport at the moment. He's got the world record. But Alex is not far behind at all. And if Hunter has a slight off day, or Alex can continue his improvements, then yeah, he can do it.
Now I'm going to go a little bit rogue now, and I'm hoping the cameraman can come with me very quickly without falling off there. But Tim Vienna, we are very much live, and I have just seen your reaction crossing the finish line. What exactly did that mean to you?
It means everything, All my family, my friends know what that moment means for me. It was a really hard time, with all the injuries, and sometimes comes the moment, for 20 minutes, when our hard work pays off, and that's the moment. So I'm so happy, so thankful for all the support. It means everything for me.
It was absolutely incredible. And I spoke to you 6 days ago. You said you weren't even likely to race. How glad are you that you put the trust in your body?
I'm fucking glad, and I'm very trustful, and in my will, That's just the will in my mind that I want that fucking world champion spot in Nizza, and I have it. So all drinks on me. So
I'll be finding you later then.
Yeah, in the pub, and tomorrow in the pub, and on Sunday in the pub, on Monday in the pub. So, and then Tuesday back at work.
Best interview ever, Tim Vienna, everybody. Yes! Greg, what impressed you the most about Tim's overall performance, because that was pretty spectacular?
Yeah, again, he's another one that looked very happy out there. It's not easy to look happy in a HYROX, but was it when he came out the sled pole and he was almost cheering, he knew he'd got through that, he knew he was feeling good, he knew his injuries weren't troubling him as much as maybe he feared before the race. So yeah, that impressed me. Just his whole attitude to the race, really.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a race like this in my entire life.
No, it's hard to know where to start with what to talk about. There's so much to talk about with there's races, women races, so many incidents, world record earlier on that we've almost forgotten about now. It's crazy.
So qualifiers for World Championships. I mean, luckily for Ryan Kent, because bless him, he had an awful day out there. He's already got that nice and ticked off. Ryan Sandbag, Alexander Ronkovic, obviously we know, Hunter, Bo Wills, Sandy, Player Tim, Thomas Turdovic. I know he's been to Las Vegas. I know that he's got this huge background. He had a great time in Maastricht. But that, for me, that's a little bit of a surprise package.
Yeah. I think 3.5 weeks ago, we wouldn't have called that at all. And then he turned up at Maastricht 3 weeks ago and ran, I think it was a 56 something, incredibly impressive time. To turn up today and do it again, yeah, unbelievable, really.
We have got one more major race, and we have got 6 more spots. Those last chance qualifiers are going to get pretty tasty.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it depends who turns up at Washington, who races, how far the spots roll down. So there's some spots up up in DC, but then last chance qualifiers in Cologne and Anaheim, very, very tasty. And I know there's a lot of athletes with their eyes on that.
It's a really great set list so far, but it does also feel like there are some really big names missing. Who do we need to really step it up in DC?
There's a lot of names missing, and for reasons like we talked, like John Wynn today, like had a terrible day.
Poor
like
John.
you could see he really struggled. He struggled with illness. Coming out the World Championships last year, where he finished 5th, and I think he ran an extra lap, would have come 3rd otherwise. Like, I thought this was his season really, and numerous reasons has it. So he's certainly one that's going to want to get better, obviously, and then claim a spot. Graham Halliday, Tobias Lautwein. There's some big names not yet in it. Yeah.
Oh, really impressed with Tobias Lautwein, and actually having not really trained at all, how he hung with the pack, and at one point he was flirting with one of those positions.
Yeah. For a while I thought he would do it because we know how he comes through the pack later in the race as well. But it will be an encouraging performance for him today, based on everything. The season hasn't gone how he wanted it to go for him so far. He's not trained as much as he ideally would like to. Like having 4 kids at home makes things hard.
Still the best interviewer ever. I want him to go on the podium so we can interview him again.
Yeah, we want some crying, don't we? So a lot of big names still to get their spot, and James Kelly as well. Obviously, didn't have his greatest race today, whereas he's performed in previous majors. He's going to want a spot.
Well, dude, good day had by all. We really hope that everyone at home following the live stream enjoyed it as well. We have had so many qualifiers come out of the Vienna EU Championships, and we have a defending crown in Alexander Ronchevich, Lauren Weeks, with a new world record. I'm not sure it gets any better than this, but we'll find out when we head to DC in a couple of weeks' time. Please join us there.